Tony Dunn, and not to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What's up, Panther fans? Welcome to the C3 Panthers Podcast, where each and every week we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. My name's Tony Dunn. They call me the Professor, and tonight is a very special show for myself. A lot of reflecting, a lot of reminiscing, and really, arguably, the central seed planted for this podcast. Julius Peppers and Muhsin have been inducted to the Ring of Honor, right? These to the Hall of Honor, the Ring of Honor. I don't even know, but Tepper doesn't even know what it's called. But I do know this, is that these are two Panther legends. One is arguably the greatest Panther. One has had the greatest Super Bowl play, arguably in Panther history. And this is going to be a great show as we continue to go down memory lane. Check out that and the latest news surrounding the Carolina Panthers and around the NFL. I do it with my homeboys, my wheelman, my producer, Cody Lashney. How you doing, my friend?
Tony Dunn, I'm doing good, man. It's a Tuesday night. And as you know, there is nothing I'd rather be doing on Tuesday night than hanging with my boys talking Panther football, man. We've got a lot of things to go over tonight, man. Even when there's nothing to talk about, there's always a ton for C3 to talk about. You know, we'll go 3 hours and 45, whatever. Yeah.
12:10, here we come.
Yeah, but you know what? We always do that because we have the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube. You already know them and love them. It's our guy, Drew. What up, Drew? Blind Panther Vlogs. That's Joey. What's up, Joey? C3D's Ill Skills. Hemlock. Jorge Marcelo. Sideshow Rob. The Real AP. Tim Estes. And your bastard son, White Chocolate Espresso, Tony Dunn. You know the saying. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Let's roll.
This isn't a supplemental draft because I'm drafting CK to the C3 squad. Nobody got drafted in a supplemental draft. Can you believe that, CK? Actually, I mean, I didn't even think about it. But CK, you are one of our top draft picks. Welcome back to the show.
I'm happy to be here, boys. Just, another Tuesday night. Only one more Tuesday night before we're going to be out there with the fans, with other content creators and watching training camp. And, that clock is counting down pretty quick when we start to realize training camp is literally 2 weeks away. It's exciting.
Right now, things are rocking and rolling behind the scenes for the C3 Panthers podcast. In fact, it's kind of one of those things where it feels like it's a dead time, but there's so much swelling, and all of a sudden it is going to be here. Just like you said, CK, we're going to open our eyes, and we're going to have too much to talk about, too much to do. And we've even landed sponsor for August. We are rocking and rolling. It's going to grow. This is the year of C3 2020 C3.
Yes, sir.
That's it. The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. We'd like to get your thoughts on what you're interested in talking about. Your thoughts. Hey, call in and tell us your favorite memory. Muhsin, call in and tell us your favorite memory of Julius Peppers or what you think about these two players and their impact for Carolina. Julius Peppers, an interesting one. Some Panther fans really held a grudge against him because he was trying to get out of here, even though the Panthers were ready to pay him. Really elite player. So it's going to be fun talking about that. The number's 252-228-5098. I want to hear your thoughts and reflections on these players, what we need to be thinking about going into training camp. And don't forget, in 2 Tuesdays, not this next Tuesday, right? How many? The 27th, Thursday, we'll be at Monster Subs hanging out after training camp practice. So we're going to go to practice. It's going to be a whirlwind of a couple of days for us. I know I'm going to have to fly out of here not fly, literally drive. I have to drive out of here on Tuesday night. I'm going to probably try to go do the show at Cody's house. And then in the morning, get to training camp right after we're going to continue to, we'll probably have some shows throughout the week. I'm thinking we can do a lot of stuff. We've got all the podcasts and equipment. CK, you'll need to bring your mic with you. I've got, because I have 2 XLR mics that we can hook up. That would be a third. So if somebody gets on the sticks with us there, but on Thursday, camp is, I think, the training practice, or the practice is at like about 10:10. They're 2 hours long, probably take another 45 minutes to get out of there afterwards. So we're probably thinking about 1:30, 2 o'clock maybe, or late lunch at Monster Subs. C3 would be out there. I want you guys to come and visit us at Monster Subs in Spartanburg if you're there. And if you're a listener of the show, I'm going to have some things to give away, some little gifts and some things like that. Can't wait to meet Muscles Marinara. We're doing this. Look, this is like the quintessential thing that I started this podcast for. This is, look, while he is putting these, we've got this banner up for him. He's a listener of this show. He's a supporter of this show. We're not trying to make money off of this. This is a family. And I love the fact that we're going to go eat lunch with a listener, a supporter, a Panther fan, and get to rap about it. We made it, folks. I feel like we've made it. I am excited. Training camp is here. Guys, let's get into this show, my man.
Let's do it. And hey, before we do, people love these cat calls so much. They're already donating to make sure that their calls get heard. JJ with the $10 says, hey, C3, got some calls. First about the Panthers, second about Brandon Miller for Greg, and third was really short. I was talking a little smack to Anthony. Figured if he left that many calls, I should send y'all some too. Appreciate you, JJ. That is the homie. But yeah, let's jump into this show, boys. And listen, this has been a long time coming. The Panthers put out a teaser a couple of days ago, basically teasing that there was going to be some updates to the Hall of Honor. And we found out today who that was. It was our guys, Julius Peppers and Muhsin Mohammed. A lot of people thought that maybe Luke Kuechly would be a part of this, since you only have to be done playing football for 2 years to be inducted in the Hall of Honor. But this feels like the right choice, man. You're harkening back to a different time in Panthers football. These are 2 legends of the organization. Tony, CK, how y'all feeling, man?
I thought it was called the Ring of Honor. Has it always been called the Hall of Honor?
Yeah, Hall of Honor.
Yep.
Greg is jumping in here. I can see his stuff slowly booting up. Greg let's go ahead and bring in Greg to the show. I want to tell Greg first, very apologies and sad stories. I've heard car problems, dude.
Whoa.
Hate to hear that. Whoa. That sucks. Also, probably need your help getting us on Rumble after we do your intro, because we got to set it up in Rumble. I don't know the password yet. Greg, welcome to the show. Julius Peppers, Muhsin Mohammed are legends that have been inducted to the Hall of Honor.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
2 of my favorite players. Like my favorite player, and another guy who's one of my favorites. So yeah.
Same.
I have no problems with that at all. Yeah, I'll get Rumble going here in a minute. Sorry I'm late, y'all.
It's okay, dude.
You don't even when it works.
We have this is why we got a good group of homies right here, is because we can pass the torch around. We don't have to always. So if it's ever, problematic, guys, we know this is all for fun and hanging out. Don't forget, you can be a C3 super fan for just $1.99. That's fun as well. And thank you for those super chats. Call in and let us know what you think about Julius Peppers, Muhsin Mohammed, your favorite memories of those players. And Greg, my kid is turning 16 in February. He's car shopping. So how scary is that? So you're talking about car problems. I'm gonna have it. I got the ultimate car problem coming.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, are you telling me I have to drive my daughter's car now? Because she's 16. I have a daughter that drives. Now I have to drive her car to be able till I get mine fixed. It sucks, man. Like I'm telling you. And get ready. It's a lot of money for insurance.
Oh, I know. Well, my son is paying for his insurance. He got a job. He's waiting. Man, I tell you, this kid is making loot. This kid is making loot. It's awesome when you just put all your money in the bank, and then he's like, hey, what we eat for dinner? And I'm like, man, what do you mean? I'm picking you up from work. Where's my Uber charge? Anyway, Cody, let me tell you this. I want to start by talking about Julius Peppers. Yeah. Julius Peppers, 2002 draft pick to the Carolina Panthers, second overall. And really, a guy. We'll see his video in just a moment. In fact, if you have it pulled up, let's go ahead and get that ready to plug in. Julius Peppers is the reason I love the NFL. He's the reason I'm an NFL fan, period. One single person. Julius Peppers, I live in a place, and I was trying to write a story last night. It was so late. I was tired. Probably a couple many 2 drinks in me to really focus to the end of it. But I was reflecting upon Julius Peppers and my memories of him. And I'm from Eastern North Carolina. I grew up in the 80s. I mean, I was born in 81, 90s kid, right? I'm a quintessential 90s kid. And if you're from an 80s and the 90s in North Carolina, this is basketball country, man. It is college basketball country.
Yes.
To a level, people around the country, like outside of North Carolina, it's probably hard for them to understand. And it's probably not the same anywhere like it used to be. But the ACC had Maryland, Wake Forest, NC State, Carolina and Duke, the rivalry's big. I mean, this is Tobacco Road. This is a basketball state. And I mean, we're to the point when the Final Four was on from middle school and high school, they would let you watch. We would watch the Final Four in school, right? Like they would roll the TV in and we'd be watching college basketball in school.
The whole tournament for me.
Yeah. Following the brackets. Exactly. When I said Final Four, you're right. The basketball tournament. And my first meeting with Julius Peppers, not interpersonally, was on the basketball court. And this mug was a ball. It made the Final Four. He's, I think, the only player in the NFL who's been to a Super Bowl and made the Final Four or national championship. Yeah, I don't know if they lost in the national championship.
No, they lost in the Final Four. They had Antoine Jameson and Vince Carter that year. I remember that year so bad. Oh man, I loved Carolina that year, and they lost in the Final Four. I think Michigan State was the
Pep
team.
Could have gone to the NBA as just a Dennis Rodman player.
100%.
Right. So I learned about Peppers from his time in Carolina as a basketball player, and I started following him in football. But the reason I fell in love with him individually as a player on the football side too is because I worked at this pizza shop with this kid. God rest his soul, Andrew Kirby, passed away. He was killed in a drive-by shooting in Greenville. He was my roommate in college. Real terrible story for Greenville's history. But he was from Kenly, North Carolina, which is about 30 minutes from us. And Julius Peppers was from Bailey, North Carolina. And he was a college a high school basketball and football star there. And my buddy Flap, he was friends with Kirby. He's this guy that was from Kenly. And he holds like the punt return record or something for Kenly High School or whatever the high school is there. He played against Julius Peppers in high school. And I think he said something like Julius Peppers was just manning up people as a freshman. You know, it just so like I just developed this personal kind of storyline to me where Julius Peppers was a guy that I knew, I followed, and I liked, and I really cheered for him. On top of that, I was starting to get a little bit into fantasy football, the NFL. I was a baseball and hockey kid growing up. And 2000, 2001, 2002, this is prime time fantasy football stuff. And I said to myself, I don't have a football team, right? Like I just don't have one that like nobody in my family was a big football fan or anything like this. So I said, wherever Julius Peppers goes, I'm going to cheer for him.
Nice.
I didn't say I was going to become a fan of that team, but I said, I will cheer for this player wherever he goes. And then he was drafted by Carolina, and it like cemented my relationship with the Carolina Panthers right then. So fast forward to the beginning of this podcast in 2013, you could link it back to Julius Peppers, my favorite Carolina Panther, 1A Carolina and 1B Cam Newton, right? Like it's Julius Peppers, Cam Newton. And I would say this is that I know that people say that Steve Smith is the greatest Panther. And he did probably have the greatest Panther career. But Julius Peppers is the greatest player, maybe outside of Kevin Green, to ever don the...
Reggie White was a Carolina Panther, so we can't say that. We can't say that.
White,
there's been great Panthers, in
they were so brief. I think he's the 9-time Pro Bowler. like 11 years with double-digit sacks. He had 12 sacks his rookie season in 12 games. He was suspended for 4 games his rookie year because he drank like some cough medicine or something. They said it was performance-enhancing drugs. He served a 4-game suspension and then came out and got 12 sacks in 12 games.
Right.
As a rookie on a team that was 1-15 the year before.
Yeah. Tony, I got to ask you, man. You go through that story, and it's a great story because it's kind of my story into Carolina because Julius Peppers coming in. You know, that's when Carolina's starting to really make noise, and you know I've been there since day one, but like that's when we're really starting to get big. Who was the baseball team?
For me,
you were a hockey baseball guy. Who was?
Yeah.
So
all right. Really, this is open a can of worms here.
Don't say the Braves, please. Don't say the Braves.
No.
Okay.
My family is a transplant family from New York. My mom's born in Queens. They're Long Island people. So my grandfather moved down here in the late 70s, like 78 from Long Island, or I don't know if they were living in Queens. My mom trailed in 80 or 81 and then had me here. So I was born here. So imagine these New Yorkers living in Kinston, North Carolina in 1978. My grandma hated it. She said there was only one she fucking hated it, but he had a job. He got a job. They flew him down, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the baseball story about this is my real father left. Like he split, like my biological father split when I was a little baby. So I spent a lot of time, not like my grandparents raised me, but I was very tight with my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my grandfather, Anthony Joseph, I'm Anthony Joseph, namesake, first grandson. And we used to sit and watch baseball as a kid. He would sit on the floor. We'd pop, you know what I mean? And we watched the Cubs. We watched the Cubs on WGN. I swear this is the craziest part of the story, Greg, is I just grew up my whole life being a Cubs fan and thinking my grandfather was a Cubs fan. He passed away when I was a teenager.
Okay.
And as I kind of grew up mentally and matured and thinking back, I'm like, this guy wasn't even probably a Cubs fan. He just lived in Kinston, North Carolina, and the only baseball team he could watch was on WGN.
Yeah, he loves.
So I'm a lifelong Cubs fan because of that. Ryan Sandberg, Mark Grace.
Okay.
Those the gold, Andre Dawson, Sean Dunston.
You love the Sosa days.
Yeah. And then, I was still through there. But that's why. And then a Rangers fan for hockey.
Okay.
Well, and then the Hurricanes now. So that's it. It's a weird story. Cubs, but the Panthers and Julius Peppers is a big part of it. CK, your memories of Julius Peppers, Muhsin Muhammad.
So Julius Peppers is always going to be a bittersweet, some memory for me in Carolina history because whereas his early years were always impactful, it wasn't when I was super into football, right? And when I started to get super into football is when he chose to leave. And so when you have that happen in the middle of like you actually coming into it's kind of a bittersweet thing. He came back and you're super happy about that, but I don't have the same
nostalgic memories.
With when it comes to Pep that I think a lot of people. My biggest thing is his jersey is the first jersey that my parents had bought me. It didn't really
first jersey I owned as well.
Yeah, it didn't mean much to me at the time, but it was. I always enjoyed that. That was the first one. Muhsin Muhammad. It's kind of a similar thing because if I'm not having that same nostalgia, the only thing I can tell you is like looking back, it's just hard not to look at his career with the Panthers and think that this had Steve Smith not showed up, this dude would have been a Hall of Famer without question. He had the numbers.
Long career. I mean, drafted by Carolina in 1996 out of, I believe, Michigan State. You're right. He didn't have a ton. Crazy amount of catches, 860, but he had 11,000 yards, 60. He had a nice. You're right.
Look at that back part of his career when Steve Smith got hurt. He stepped up. He had like one of the best seasons of a wide receiver.
08. 107 targets in 08.
04 is when he had the 1405. Yeah. 04 was his biggest year of his career. Look,
he had 102 catches in 2000. Both of these guys, Greg, went and did a stint in Chicago and then came back to Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Because I think Carolina is a great place to retire. To be honest with you, I think Carolina is an up and coming city, and the way people have talked about like places like Los Angeles and New York and places like that, Baltimore. I think Charlotte is the next big city to be talked about like that, because there are things changing in the future. And I think Charlotte's an up-and-coming city. Look, Muhsin Muhammad, I love the guy. I really do. He's forever a Carolina Panther for me. I love the fact that he's in the Hall of Fame with the Carolina Panthers now. This and that's great. But
oh God, don't wet blanket us.
No, not wet blanket. Okay. But I'm just gonna say I have this. Okay, 2003. I made this.
Oh, nice.
This here.
Hold up. I'll put you on solo. Yeah.
And while I love it, I don't have any Muhsin Muhammad on here, and I'm kind of upset about that.
You're disappointed.
I'm kind of upset about that. That was the 2003 Super Bowl.
Is that not him up there wearing 87?
Where? That's 89.
No, that's
that's another team. That's another team.
That was when he caught that touchdown.
That's another team. That's an Eagle, isn't it?
Yeah. So I feel bad about that, but because he's not on here doesn't mean he's not great. Look, this guy is, CK, you had mentioned that had Steve Smith not been here, what we consider him, he would be the best Carolina Panthers wide receiver.
Oh, truly.
If Steve Smith wasn't here.
Honestly,
he is the guy. But behind Steve Smith, he is the number 2 wide receiver ever for Carolina. I love him. I'm so glad
Steve
he's there.
Smith, him, and that's it, really.
I don't know that the gap between the two of them is that big.
It's pretty significant.
I don't know that it's like when you look at what he did while Steve Smith was out, like he had Steve Smith numbers. And if you're talking about comparing him while you're talking about having the same quarterback, Muhsin Muhammad did the exact same thing Steve Smith did that year that he got hurt.
He did, but that was only 1 year. Like I look at Moose's numbers, he only broke 1,000 3 years in his career. And that was with Carolina and Chicago. That was a 1253 and 1183 and 1405 that year in 2004. When Steve Smith
my reason for expressing it that way is because who did he have throw into him before Jake Malone?
I get it. Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, kind of similar. That. Steve Smith, I would say this is Steve Smith is clearly better. Look, about
of course,
3,000 yards more, a lot more catches, 150 more catches. He had a bunch, 20 more touchdowns than him. But I think the point is not to necessarily say that is to bring Steve Smith down in this, right? Is to elevate. We're trying to elevate Muhsin Muhammad and just how good he was. And sometimes it goes underappreciated, I think, is what you're implying here. And I tell you, this is a couple of things. One is Muhsin Muhammad is one of the few players in the world that Steve Smith didn't punch in the face. That's number one. So he's got to be a cool guy there. Number two, he's got the greatest Panther Super Bowl play ever. He holds the record for the longest receiving.
You kind of cut out on my end, Tony. Say that one more time.
He has the greatest Super Bowl play in Panthers history, Muhsin Muhammad.
Oh yeah,
right. Not in Super Bowl history, but he does have. It is a record for the longest touchdown in the history of the Super Bowl. 85-yard touchdown, Jake Malone. And really one of the best Super Bowls in NFL history. Sadly, we didn't come down on the right side of it. It really looked like the Panthers were going to fall behind in that game. And then they came out in the second half and were just busting ass with these big ass plays. What a great year between those two guys. Muhsin Muhammad, too, big person, owned Buffalo Wild Wings that was in the epicenter. I don't know where he's still a businessman in Charlotte. These guys are two great players. See, Cody, do you have the Julius Peppers audio or video with David Tepper? David Tepper, I guess, again, and this is Cody's point right here, is Nicole is going to win the show here again. Just put her, let's just, somebody go ahead in a set. We need just Nicole Tepper as the owner.
We need to put some respect on her name, man. The chief executive officer of Tepper Sports and Entertainment. She's done a great job. She's brought heart and soul to this Panthers ownership, and it's been fantastic, man. But let's watch David Tepper and Nicole Tepper welcome Julius Peppers into the Hall of Honor.
How thin are you right now? I don't know. I haven't jumped on the scale in a while.
You haven't? You been playing b-ball or something like that? You're trying for a second career?
Just running behind the kids.
You don't know
man.
nothing about this dude.
Did he say b-ball?
Let me ask you a question. So when
Come on,
you
man.
got here, you were
He's a white.
what year were you
So
drafted?
fake.
I was
Come on,
drafted in
man.
the 2002 draft, number 2 overall.
Number 2. What was that like when you were drafted, when you first came in here?
The team was coming off a 1-15 season, right? So I'm a defender, not a quarterback. So the expectations weren't as high. I felt comfortable. I felt comfortable with Coach Fox was my coach. Jack Del Rio was the defensive coordinator. So I felt good. I felt good. I was always pretty confident anyway, so that wasn't a problem.
No.
So, wanted to talk to you about draft preparation, a guy coming in here theoretically. But the real reason I want to talk to you, actually, is because I want to tell you you're going to be in the Hall of Honor up here on the building.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So your name's going to be up there as long and beyond when this building stands. I love you from a lot of different reasons. Actually, here's a person jumping up and down.
Congratulations.
Hello. Hi. Thank you.
She's
So excited.
Thank you. I'm honored. I'm looking forward to it. I want to thank you guys for for giving me this honor. I can't say that I expected it. Right now, I am a little bit surprised.
You sure as heck deserve it. I'm looking here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Pro Bowls. You made a hard game seem simple sometimes because you played at such a high
Oh, it's a
level.
great way of putting it.
And I think people love you, and we love you, and we're really happy.
It's my favorite athlete of all time, I think.
Yeah,
I'm looking
I
forward
think
to it.
it's.
Thank you guys. I love you guys too.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I can't wait to go tell everybody and get prepared.
It's so hard.
You go ahead and tell people. Listen, we're looking forward to see people when they come down here, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
It is, isn't it wild, guys, when people's personalities are different than their
Perception.
Yeah, I'm a really high strung person, talk a lot, and you just assume everybody's like you in the world a lot, Pep is like the baddest motherfucker on the gridiron. And he's like a gentle giant, like real mild mannered. He's like, man, I'm awesome at everything. He was like, I wasn't that nervous. I knew, like, he just used to dominating. He didn't, and I wonder if do you think it rubs people the wrong way with sometimes when people handle things differently than you would? And what I mean by that is it's not like he was floored here. Right. Like, oh my God, I'm so happy. This is the greatest thing. He was like, hey man, I appreciate it. Thanks.
He's like, I wasn't expecting this yet. Like he knew it was going to be something, but he's
but isn't that very Julius Peppers?
Yeah.
He's never
totally.
He's always been an even keel kind of a guy. Even the clips of like any trash talking, he's never the one like doing a lot of it,
Well, it's not even that. It's not even that, Cody. Look, man, I followed this guy since he was a freshman in high school. Look, I'm telling you, this guy was a starting power forward for Carolina when they were a Final Four national championship contender. He played for Carolina and got drafted number 2. This guy has always been on top of the game. I imagine he always expects to win great things because he is a great guy.
Yeah.
So
but he's not
while
a
it looks
big
humbled.
Ego part. It's not.
I agree. It looked humbled. It
bombastic
didn't look
personality.
overwhelmed. It didn't look overwhelmed that he heard that he was getting inducted in the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Honor, but it did look humbled.
Yeah,
based on the guy that he was.
he's such an awesome. He's so awesome.
I can only imagine what this guy's college life was like, being like a number 1 guy on a national contender championship basketball team. And being like the top football player in the NFL or in the NCAA.
Yeah,
I can only imagine his life in college must have been phenomenal.
There were such big players on those basketball teams, though. It's like he wasn't even the one people were talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, well, they knew he was going football. That's why.
But the fact that he was able to do that, and play both at a high level. So I have a question for you guys, and especially Tony. Like Tony, I know, you and I are similar in that we both had a player
that
kind of brought us to the Carolina Panthers. Mine was Cam Newton, and yours was Julius Peppers. What do you remember about Peppers in his early career?
Okay.
I'm talking year 1 and year 2. Like, what made him just
he was
jump off the screen?
Yeah, defensive rookie of the year. His rookie year, 12 sacks, 12 games, was suspended for the first 4 games for performance enhancing drugs, but it was like an over the counter thing. You know what I'm saying? Like a GNC stuff or whatever. But it comes out, and what it is there's 2 things. There's a couple of things I remember about Pep. My favorite play. All right, there's 2 games. There's a favorite game I have by the Panthers defense, and Peppers was involved in it, and a favorite play. Peppers, I think it was in Denver. I know it was in Denver. They were on the road. They were at Mile High Stadium, and they were like on the 5-yard line on R5. The team's about to score a touchdown. Peppers gets into the backfield, disrupts stuff, tips the ball, tips the pass, catches it. So he causes the whole play himself, right? It's like a single thing. And then he runs. It was like 90 yards. He runs to the house. I mean, he is flying for a big man. And somebody who has to run 4.3 or something comes and finally catches up with him all the way down at like the 10 or something like this. But it was like a 90-yard return from like the end zone. And I just remember Pep after this play they showed him on the sidelines, and he is hitting the oxygen mask, bro. And because they're in Denver, they're at high altitude. And it looked like he was like, if you could see the oxygen tank, like he was going to like.
He was pulling the whole thing.
Like it was going to suck down into a squid. Yeah, bro. Like this was the greatest, and I was so mad he didn't score on it, but it was one of the best plays of all time, man. And it just incredible athleticism. So that's one thing I think that sticks out about Pep too, is somehow he got a bunch of fucking interceptions all the time.
Yeah, but the Panthers posted a highlight video, which I'm sure will get slapped if it played. But like most of them are him taking interceptions to the house. Like the dude had multiple plays where he just deboed an offensive lineman in front of him and just intercepts the ball with the hands of a wide receiver, and just nobody was taking him down. He was a unit. Like, I look at what Myles Garrett is to the NFL right now, and I think that Julius Peppers was the first initial iteration of that. Just a giant man, a physical freak athlete.
Yeah,
that just
that's a good comp.
A one-on-one nightmare.
Well, Julius Peppers was so athletic, he could play. He was 290 pounds, dude, or 280. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a big motherfucker. And he could play and he played in a 3-4 and was very successful. Like, he was an insane athlete for his size. So that's one thing. Now, to go back, Myles Garrett might need to take some lessons from Julius Peppers. And here's what I've heard a couple of people. Now, I don't watch the Browns closely enough, but you guys can keep an eye on this next year and tell me if this person was right. I've heard that Myles Garrett goes balls to the walls too early in the game. And like, he's just like 100 motor the whole first half. And then in the fourth quarter, he's tired. So people used to talk shit to Peppers. People used to not. It's always the wildest thing when you talk junk about your best player. And it's like, it's just part of reality.
We do it now. It's what Panther fans do with Brian Burns.
Oh, that's what we did with Cam Newton and stuff. But
yeah.
Well, one thing is Julius Peppers made it look easy. If you go back and watch Randy Moss highlights, he looks like he's barely running. I mean, he looks like he's barely, and he is running 4.3, 4.2, and it's like, because they're not like looking like they're trying hard. Peppers was accused of taking plays off.
Yeah.
We were
talking about this on Embrace Debate last Monday and how that kind of affected his image at the time,
But that's what people, I think, who don't. And I didn't play football. I don't claim to be a football expert, but I've watched it long enough to learn a couple of things. And maybe it's just me defending my guys. They say this is like, if you're not supposed to bull rush every play. Like, that's just not the way it works, right? If you do, you gas yourself out, right? You
become predictable as well.
Exactly. And what these offensive linemen in the NFL level are such mental savants. They're so smart about technique in the game, and they're not the most athletic dudes, but they know how to do things right to negate some of that. I've heard that a lot of defensive ends who are like top tier elite are playing chess, really. Like, they're thinking 2-3 plays. Like, how do I get this guy thinking I'm doing this? How do I get him? And so when it looks like us, you're like, oh, Peppers is not running after an off the ball tackle that he's not going to make. You know, it's kind of like maybe when we look at like Tom Brady and they don't, when they throw an interception, they ain't trying to tackle people. So I think sometimes we just see a couple of things. And I think the other thing too is that Peppers was so awesome. You just expected him to have like a 20 sack season one year. You know, you're like, where's the 20 sacks? Just 12? Just 15? Oh,
yeah. Well, and again, another question I have for everyone, you too, CK. I mean, everybody that has memories of this, you know, and I do too, to a degree, you know, but it's like when Julius Peppers left that first time, you know, and the big kind of stink around it was that he chose to leave.
Yeah, they offered him supposedly a bigger contract.
They were going to make him the highest paid defensive end, I believe, in the NFL. And he really wanted to be a 3-4 outside linebacker. So that's what.
Well, I think he went and played in a 4-3. I think Chicago was a 4-3, though, he went to. I don't think he was in the 3-4 system till he went to Green Bay from Chicago. I'm not entirely sure about that.
We'll get taken down for that, Greg.
Oh, for showing a play?
Yeah.
Yeah, even if you show the play, like, it'll black out the entire screen.
Fuck YouTube. It'll do on Rumble.
Saying the think this is Peppers knew. I think Peppers wanted to change the scenery. One is
he's been in Carolina for everything up to that point.
His entire life. Yeah, college, high school.
Right.
Pros, everything, yeah.
And also, Carolina was going into stinker mode. You know, like we were really
in 15 when we drafted him. They were in stinker mode when we drafted him.
Right, but this was 2008, I believe.
He felt like he was fleeing a sinking ship.
Yeah, and he went and joined one of the best defenses in the league. He's playing with Brian Urlacher. You know, I mean, he was playing with who was it? They had a bunch of guys on that defense. I think Peanut Tillman was on that team.
Yeah, he was.
White Chocolate says they called him Julius Peppers.
Yeah. And, you know, and that I think he just didn't get riled up by the fans enough. We needed somebody to target in that, I guess. I don't know. I never had any problems with it, with him. But it was just like one of those guys that can't do anything wrong. Going back to one other memory with Julius Peppers. And I don't know how active he was in this exact game. We'll have to go pull it up. It's probably like it was early in the 2003 season, maybe like week 6 on our Super Bowl run. We ended up beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers without scoring a touchdown. We beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers without scoring a touchdown. Yeah. And what happened is the Bucs took the lead. They scored a late minute field goal. I mean, a late minute touchdown against us. And we blocked the extra point. This was I think we blocked 3 field goals in that game. Like, I mean, it was like the defense literally stopped them from anything. We drove down and kicked the field goal to win the game, like 13-12 or some shit, or 14-30. We only had it would have been 12-11.
Yeah,
I think we beat them. We had 4 field goals in that game, but we won that with John Casey and Chris Jenkins, Julius Peppers, and that defensive front that took us all the way. That offense was not clicking early in 2003. It wasn't until late in the season that they really started to get their mojo going. That defense was the heart and soul of that team early on. And when it comes to that, this is the last thing I want to say about this, is when they said there were 2 names Did you think these were the two names that they were going to announce? I thought it was going to be John Casey.
Nah, I didn't think John Casey has too much of a negative stigma around.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep in mind that touch or that out of bounds kickoff that caused the New England Patriots to be able to start on the 40-yard line instead of the 20-yard line was a big deal.
I mean, it was, and
that was in the year that Brady wasn't like killing it. Like he wasn't the Brady that we saw him be later on. After
2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
Doctors take Field of Greens for their own health. Here's Dr. Ryan Green to explain.
We're like you, too much fast food and not enough exercise. That's why I take Field of Greens. The fruits and vegetables in Field of Greens support my heart, lungs, kidneys, and metabolism for weight loss. And Field of Greens promises your doctor will notice your improved health or your money back.
Get 15% off with promo code HEALTH at fieldofgreens.com. That's promo code HEALTH at fieldofgreens.com. Product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Third season or something like that.
He was still living off of the high of like how good their defense was.
Right.
I'm not saying he wasn't good, but like the idea that if they had to go 80 yards, or I'm sorry, they had to go 40, 50 yards instead of just 20 yards, then that was a big deal.
We were gassed at that point.
Yeah.
And real quick, before we get too far away from it, Rock Rhymes talking about in the chat, Pep ran 101 yards. Tony, that play you were talking about earlier that I tried to show, it was a 101-yard interception return, and he fumbled at the 1 going into the end zone. He didn't score.
That was against Tampa.
He didn't score. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. The play I was looking at was against Denver.
Oh, it was Denver where they wearing orange.
He picked the ball off at the 1 yard inside the end zone, ran it back all the way to the other side, and fumbled
he got chased down, right?
Yeah, he got chased down, fumbled the 1 yard line. So it was technically a 101-yard return with no touchdown.
That's insane.
I think it was the longest play ever in history without a touchdown, without a score. I think. Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, gosh, man, just fucking elite ass players. I'm trying to think is.
By the way, David Newton agrees with you. He says Panthers are adding Julius Peppers and Muhsin Muhammad to their Hall of Honor. Great for them to be recognized and deserving, but feeling John Casey is being forgotten should already be in. And I think like
a weird take though.
Yeah, I mean
he's
guess.
the greatest.
I understand the point that he's saying.
Scorer.
Right, that he's the leading point scorer.
That's not an impressive feat when you realize
history.
He's just
all kickers are.
Right. When you have that type of a history with a team like he did, it's not like that's not super impressive. Like I'm not down on the guy. I'm just saying like when you think about negative impacts on a franchise, there's not many people who have a bigger negative impact than that Super Bowl kickoff. And that sucks that one play might define his entire potential. I'm not saying he's not going to be in it at some point, but he was a good kicker. Don't get me wrong, but he was, I mean, how often, and you might be able to answer this. I don't recall them ever really considering him the best in the NFL.
Right. Look, I will take John Casey, even with that play, and I'll say it right now, the best kicker ever for Carolina.
Yeah.
Totally. He's the best kicker we've ever had, okay? However, I would, if you told me I had a choice in taking Muhsin Muhammad, Julius Peppers, or John Casey and I can have 2, Casey's going to have to go away. That's all there is to it. I'm sorry.
I think that's a fair take.
I can't a guy like Moose or.
And by the way, the first 2 comments under David Newton's post, C3 Cole, shout out C3. He said he should be in, David, but I'm still super pissy about a certain play that cost Carolina the Super Bowl. I'm not mad he's out. The next comment says the same thing. You know, Tony, it's
but he got he became the face of that loss.
Now we went for 2. How you feel?
One job.
How you feel about Graham Gano? Because you have some feelings about Graham Gano.
I know, but he was never great for us.
You have to understand that that's how a lot of people feel about John Casey. It's
totally.
in the biggest moment. Yeah, he might be the best Panther or the most leading Panther scorer ever. But for a lot of people, that's the first memory that pops up of him, and that's hard to overcome.
Right. And people are mistaken. You got to think about this. Like when you say that you can look on almost any team in NFL history, every team you look at for every year, I don't care who you are, I guarantee you their kickers are some of the highest scores they've ever had, because the only time you ever are on the field is to score as a kicker.
I can't. I mean,
I was there's no other reason.
I was one of those people that blamed him too. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely blame him. He is the reason we lost the Super Bowl.
I wouldn't go, but if that's because we were in our feels, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no,
that's
because he lost it for us.
No, we went for 2 twice in the first half and didn't get it.
Oh my God.
There was some other things.
Kicker in the egg.
Oh, I know.
But Tony, remember this past season in Atlanta when our kicker didn't make the field goal when DJ Moore took off his helmet? Like, it's another one of those things. Like, he did lose.
Kicking it out of bounds. Out of bounds as a place kick.
So let me ask you, Tony, if they have to go 80 yards as opposed to 30 yards, do you think they win that Super Bowl? Just because we know now after the fact,
we go to overtime. They only go to overtime at that point. Where we're going to go to overtime. I don't think it was a lock we would win it. It wasn't even, in fact,
it wasn't a lock, no. But what are the
you can't
odds?
Kick it out of bounds, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
It was fucking deflating, particularly when we had launched such a comeback. The defense was playing. Mm-hmm. I mean, go and look up Dan Morgan and Will Witherspoon's tackles in that game. They both had double digit. Both had like 20 plus tackles. Like, how is that even possible? Two guys with 20 tackles.
Hell yeah.
I mean, these motherfuckers were all over the place. Anyway,
it's probably one of the best performances by a losing team ever in the Super Bowl.
It goes down as one of the best Super Bowls because like the Super Bowls have been stinkers for the years before that. Like, if you go back and you look at like some of the scores and the totals.
Well, before that, it was St. Louis and New England, Tampa, and that was the St. Louis with Marshall Faulk and all them. They were like unstoppable on offense, and New England beat them. That was the whole big thing,
Yeah. It's just like it was one of those games. It had everything. It had good defense. Mm-hmm. It had scoring. It looked like it was going to be slow in the beginning. And was that the nipple?
That was the boob show. Yep.
Oh,
that was the Janet Jackson.
That was
Timberlake boob show.
And then it was such a tough first half for us. And I remember in the second half, like just hitting these big ass plays, a couple to Steve Smith, a couple to Muhammad, and like I was hugging people. Like it was just like, oh, we're fucking coming back. It's like and then the out of bounds kick. It was fucking deflating. Cody, let's go ahead and jump into a couple of cat calls. Maybe some people have to say. I'm going to play JJ's first call. Let me see. I want to see if anybody. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to play this call first. Sorry, I know JJ you paid. Let's do one call about Muhsin Muhammad.
Hold on, we gotta be so official. We're going to hit the cat calls. Call in at 252-228-5098.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty you shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like...
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
What's up, C3? It's JJ calling back.
JJ?
You know, I wanted to call in today.
Back.
This is his first.
I mean,
one.
like, I saw a video of Anthony Richardson playing basketball, so I wanted to ask Cody, you know, is he the next biggest bust and everything, you know? Bryce Young just completely the superior product than Anthony Richardson at this point. I'm sure Cody would agree. Jackson Smith and Jigba, you know, he posted a picture when he was at a party this past weekend. You know, I'm sure he thinks Jonathan Mingo is the better product than Jackson Smith and Jigba too, because, you know, Mingo's working with his quarterback, and then Jigba had a night out of having fun, you know. So I wanted to get that across, but I also wanted to say, you know, there's a lot of people who think Bryce Young might have a bit more hiccups his rookie year, and I don't think his hiccups are going to be like his hiccups. I think his hiccups are going to be from the cast around him, honestly. I think
we're going to blame on somebody else. I got you.
This Panthers team is letting Bryce Young down a little bit. I think Bryce Young's going to be just fine. All right. I think passing for 4,000 yards is honestly pretty realistic. I know people say there's only like 4 who have done it on time.
4,000.
We're not gonna be like a run for tone kind of team. We're probably gonna be using Miles Sanders and Blackshear like a Naheem Hines third down back.
Put your hand down.
For check downs, we're probably gonna use 2 backs a lot in the shotgun role. We're never going to be running play action and stuff like that because of Bryce's height. It's going to be a little more challenging to set the tone.
I disagree with that.
We're always going to be in like a pass first kind of dynamic, almost like the Cardinals are at times. And
I disagree with that too.
If we don't expect our defense to be on hot shit to start the season, then I completely can see Bryce Young always throwing the ball and like passing for high numbers and really like having like 25 passing touchdowns and like 4,000 flat yards, 4,100 yards, and like 12 interceptions, 13 interceptions. So the interceptions are going to be there. Yes. But I think Bryce Young's going to be more than a competent quarterback his first year. I think that we're just going to see a lot of signs of the Panthers letting him down, unfortunately. But let me know whether y'all think that's more so the case or whether y'all think there's going to be more rookie mistakes than the Panthers lack a supporting cast around him at times. And if it's really logical for Bryce Young to throw for 4K this year. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding. Greg, I know you're about to jump out your flesh.
I'm going to die.
I have to rebut as soon as you're done.
Yep.
So go ahead.
You can go ahead first. You can go ahead first if you want to.
No, he's
going to rebut you.
Okay, he's going to rebut me. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to rebut you. Yeah, go ahead.
You guys, we have nothing to base this off of. And I love the fact that Bryce Young fans are now this is about the right time to call in and say, well, look, if he doesn't do good, I think it's because of the supporting cast. Like you're putting that caveat in there. Like seriously. So let me get this straight. Okay. If Bryce Young throws for 5,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions this year, it's because Bryce Young is the best thing ever made. No supporting cast. But if Bryce Young throws for 2,500 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions, he had a bad supporting cast. That's his fault. That's what we're setting. That's the precedence we're setting right here. Get the F out of here. I'm sorry. I will not judge Bryce Young until I see him in the pro.
I don't think that's what he's doing. I don't think that's what he's doing, though.
He specifically said that if he doesn't do well this year, it's because he doesn't have a good supporting cast.
Listen,
that's what he said. That's exactly what he said. He said the precedence for Bryce Young being not that great.
But I kind of think what he was intending to say is that if there are hiccups, a lot of them could be the fault of a receiving core that isn't necessarily
not Bryce Young.
That doesn't have a lot of experience. Well, this is where I agree with both of you. I've been telling JJ and Anthony for months now that our receiving core is way better than so many Panther fans are giving us credit for. We have high-end talent on our offensive, in our offensive weapon room that a lot of teams I really think don't have quite the high-end physical talent that we have. When it comes to Bryce, again, I go back to this fact that if you're going to draft a 5'10", 200-pound quarterback, number 1 overall, you're drafting him because of his mental fortitude and him being able to come in and hit the ground running. So I don't think that it would be a surprise if he did that. I also want to say this. JJ said that he doesn't think that we're going to run a lot of play action. Well, our coaches have said that we're going to run play action, and I think everyone's going to be surprised how often Bryce Young is under center. They did this a lot with Drew Brees
you said
in
a long time ago that you didn't expect him to be under center a lot.
Yeah, well, based on what our coaches have said,
I agree,
and the fact that they say that with Thomas Brown here, we're going to be doing a lot of the things that the Los Angeles Rams have done in recent years, and it's a very intricate playbook that Bryce is apparently damn near 100% on already before the season even starts.
You know what?
I think what we have to do, guys, I think what we have to do is just balance our expectations.
I agree.
Right. And I think what we can say is this, as I love how Cody is the optimism that he has, and he can see the high end of this, right? Like the high end opportunity of like, 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. Like you could see that world. While it might be overly optimistic, I mean, I think it's reasonable to say he could be successful. Right. And more successful than we maybe expected a rookie quarterback to be.
Yes.
On the other hand, we do need to remember that he is a rookie. And while he's the number 1 draft pick and he is cerebral and he's all of these different things, like we got a new coaching staff, we got a new team, and we don't want to be, what if he comes out there and throws 300 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions, and we'd be like, oh, what a bust of a fucking season, because we don't want to. So there's got to be this, and I think also where Greg brings a lot to this is like, I mean, we want a quarterback so bad, Greg.
Yes,
where we're ready to crown this motherfucker already. It's just like we're already. It's like he's it. He's it.
He can't look. Bryce Young can be that guy. All I'm saying is, Cody, Anthony, and G Baby, you three especially. You three, I'm calling you three out especially. Yeah. Okay, if Bryce Young does not have a rookie of the year type season, I'm coming for y'all. I'm coming after y'all because all three of y'all. No. Let me finish. All three of y'all, the entire offseason through this fantasy draft we're doing and everything else, have pumped up Bryce Young to be the guy. And I do not want to hear one excuse about his supporting cast. If
poor
he does
Greg
not
gonna
end
have
up
to
being,
poor Greg gonna have to quit the podcast if he does turn out to be this.
But hey, Greg, this is the other way around too.
No, he needs to be a candidate. He needs to be a candidate for offensive rookie of the year as a quarterback that we traded for, based on what we gave him and based on what you guys are telling me he is. I'm not saying he can't do it.
I'm down.
All I'm saying is I haven't seen it. Let me
Anthony's right. You got to put Cody in that class too.
I got to put Cody in that class. Exactly. Cody, Anthony, and G Baby.
You remember, if it's the other way around, you remember your boy.
I have no problem eating crow, buddy.
Don't worry. I know how to remind him.
I have no problem eating crow. I know how to smoke it. I do it all the time. I'm wrong all the time. All I'm saying is I have not seen it yet. I'm not saying he cannot do it. I'm saying I've not seen it yet. You guys are putting a shit ton of faith. Let's go back last year at this time to Baker Mayfield being on this team and see what we had to say about that.
Oh,
let's go back before that to Will Greer.
It's very simple.
Bryce is so much better than
those
Baker,
players.
dude.
I'm just telling you. You're right. You're
so
saying that
much
now.
Better than Baker.
Let's see what he does.
Dude.
Let's see what he does.
So much.
Greg, you want to know exactly what we were saying about Baker? Just go read a Buccaneers blog right now. Like the same exact thing. It's like, oh man, had some success. Like all of this.
Look
over
here. They're in denial like Panthers were.
We got some things
Which
to
is
talk
why
about.
I'm worried about you, Cody. I don't want you to be in denial right now. I don't want you to be in denial.
Let's hit JJ's second half of his call and get through some calls because I want to hear what fans have to say about Muhsin Muhammad and Julius Peppers. Don't make this show just about us. Tell us your memories of Julius Peppers, Muhsin Muhammad, and was John Casey the reason for the Super Bowl loss. The number's 252-228-5098.
Hey, Cody, this is about the Hornets, the NBA, and Brandon Miller. I saw Greg was interested a little bit last week. Kind of wanted to talk about it. Please don't kill me. All right. So here's why I don't think picking Scoot Henderson was all the best idea for the Hornets. Usually when you pick the more complete upfront player, it's because they're the better player. You want them to be the franchise player down the road because you believe you can win a championship with. In situations like picking Luka, trading up for Luka instead of picking Trae Young because you believe you can win a championship with him versus the other guys. I believe the problem with Scoot Henderson is he doesn't play good defense. He's a liability because of his height. He's 6'2". There's only been 2 players ever under 6'3" to be the best player on the championship team. That's Steph Curry. That's Isaiah Thomas. So unless you think he's going to be a top 5 point guard of all time, I don't really see the point because the Hornets aren't in a position to just fully win now. We're trying to create a better team, better culture, kind of like the Kings did when they traded the better player, Tyrese Halliburton, but they wanted the better fit to be a more complete team to get back to relevancy. Just winning more regular season games to make your team relevant was what was more important. Brandon Miller is a complete player. He brings perimeter defense. He brings a level of rim protection. He's 6'9", long-ass arms. He can shoot the ball from downtown. I'm talking this guy got the whole bag offensively, all right? I do worry about his ability to go through contact. He lost 13 pounds to a 6 during the whole pre-draft workouts and all that
JJ,
stuff.
if you didn't donate $10, man, this ain't the Hornets podcast. Good God.
I can comment on this.
Came in a little out of shape.
Yeah, JJ, I'm dying, bro.
But people who are hating on Brandon Miller, they just don't understand. The Hornets.
I'm done with the Brandon Miller stuff.
Well, let me comment on it real quick.
And I know Anthony in that comment section saying the Hornets are poverty, man.
Yes,
you know
they
what?
suck. That's why this is a Panthers
podcast. Right here.
Look, first of all, the Hornets are poverty. Okay, they are a poverty franchise.
My man said win now and the Hornets in the same sentence.
Look, they're giving away tickets to Hornets games outside the stadium. They're giving away tickets outside the stadium to try to fill the stadium. Okay, look, that was a bad comparison with the Luka and Trae Young, because guess what? Neither one of them have ever been to a finals. So it doesn't really matter. Neither one of them have ever been to a final, so it doesn't matter. And Luka was kind of close last year, but beyond that, nothing.
Let's go.
So it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Let's jump to a call. Let's see what somebody. I'm gonna pick a 9 o'clock call real quick. See if somebody's actually talking about Moose and Pep.
Hey guys, it's the growl that makes somehow, aka.
He said he didn't want us to play this call.
And
he said his dad phone bombed him.
Julius Peppers and Muhsin Muhammad. Now, Muhsin Muhammad, I really don't remember him playing much at all because
Joey's dad.
Yeah, he said his dad interrupted both of his calls. I kind of want to hear. I kind of want to hear it.
Did we play it, or is that he said don't play it? All right, we'll go back.
I guess not. Yeah,
we'll be nice, but we're gonna listen. I'm gonna listen to it after the show.
What up, guys? This is Deez, and I'm trying to get in my cat call. Just one day removed from the Panthers announcing their inductees to this year's Hall of Honor. Congratulations go out to Pep and Moose both. That Moose getting inducted, that made me think about the article that the professor put out about Ted Ginn and how Ted Ginn was such a valuable wide receiver to this franchise, whether we realize it or not. And then I got to thinking about all of Moose's accomplishments and how important he is to this franchise as a wide receiver. But then it led me to think about Steve Smith and all the important things that he's done this offseason. And that brings me to my question. Do you think that anyone has been more influential in this offseason than Steve Smith? And if that's true, and you feel the same way I do you think that Steve's influence also helped Moose get inducted? Just a question.
That's a great point.
And I really don't think anyone else has been more influential. I just want to hear your guys' opinion on the subject. Keep pounding C3.
Keep pounding D's. You know, when you listen to on Steve Smith's podcast, he interviewed Muhsin Muhammad, and dude, he you know, they were both tearing up a couple times. He said how much he looked up to Muhsin Muhammad and how Moose made him want to be the best possible player that he could be. And if you look at, you know, and I think what Deez is talking about, right? Steve Smith gave Bryce Young the seal of approval at his pro day. He's been, you know, he's the one that said, hey, I think the second day round 2 pick should be Jonathan Mingo. A lot of the things that Steve Smith has been a part of recently, it's kind of like they've been signed, sealed, and approved by Agent 89. And it wouldn't surprise me if Steve did have a hand to play with this. But also on the other hand, it's not like he would need any more. It's not like David Tepper would need any more convincing, right? Muhsin Muhammad, his play was able to speak for itself. It's easy to put that guy in. But I do see what Deez is talking about, man. Steve now probably has more sway with the Panthers organization than he ever has.
Yeah, I get what he's saying, but I'm not going to take anything away from Muhsin Muhammad in this moment, especially. I don't think that Steve Smith, I think if Steve Smith never played for Carolina, then this happens earlier for Muhsin Muhammad, to be honest with you. I don't think Steve Smith had anything to do with it. I think Muhsin Muhammad is by far the second best wide receiver we've ever had on the team. And I think that maybe Steve Smith said something, but I think that regardless of Steve Smith at all, I think Muhsin Muhammad deserves this and would have gotten this right now because he deserves it. Like,
what if we think of it a little more softly? In this is that Steve Smith certainly. I don't think like him being in there is a direct mention, right? Or something like this is like, I think Steve Smith's influence on the team is less about like direct influence and just sort of presence. Like it's just kind of a spiritual. I don't think he's like in the draft room being like this and that. You know what I mean? It's like he's rubbing elbows every now. He talks to these guys. But what he said is that, again, if you go back, and for people that don't know about the article I wrote for CarolinaCatChronicles.com, is Steve Smith the 4th best receiver in Panther history. And there's nobody in the world that was harder on Ted Ginn Jr. than me. I've stone hands Ted Ginn. I didn't even like the dude, to be honest. But he was he did a couple important things for us. He solidified our punt return game. I mean, special teams presence was great. And he actually turned out to be pretty damn productive in Carolina. The point of the article is that it's Steve Smith, Moose, DJ Moore, and everybody else. That's what, if you look back at the production of Carolina Panthers receivers in the black and blue, those are the most productive receivers. The top 3, right. Smith, Muhammad, DJ Moore, and then it's a cliff. You know, I mean, you might say Ricky Prohl, his great years weren't in Carolina. He didn't do shit in Carolina. I mean, really, it was a nice addition. No, like he was important, but it was like he had 400 yards. He was putting up 1,000 yards. He was a great receiver for many years on other teams. The point being is I think that Smitty's presence keeps that Moose conversation alive more. Right. Because honestly, like Dan Morgan is a guy, there's a couple of players you go down, Mike Rucker, something like this, that are really good players in Panther history, but it's Mike Minter. And I just think that the idea of us talking about Steve Smith, talking about that time together, it helps keep Muhammad's name closer to the heart, to the discussion.
Hey, and can I tell you too, and this is sad, this is really, really sad. You talk about how it drops off. It's Steve Smith, Muhsin Muhammad, DJ Moore, and that drops off.
It's like Kelvin Benjamin.
The next best receiver we have is Kelvin Benjamin. 2 years, 2,000 yards, 16 touchdowns.
It's the saddest story.
It's sad. It's very sad. Yeah, 2 years, 2,000 yards, 16 touchdowns.
If I never heard that name again for the rest of my life, it would be
agree,
too
but he's our 4th best.
I want to know what he's doing.
Eating cheeseburgers.
working at a Popeyes or something.
I want to see
right now.
We have the internet. Why can't somebody get us a picture of Kelvin Benjamin? Where is the TMZ picture?
There's not a lens big enough. That's why. Sorry.
All right, let's go to another call. Let's see. I love when I see somebody's name in it. Greg, they're coming for you.
Oh, they always are.
Hey guys, Kyle from VA. Greg, we got beef. Now we got beef.
Let's do it.
I know you won't sitting at the computer last week when my call first got played, but you said I was G baby. And I take offense to that.
I thought he might have been G baby. Because I knew G baby was calling for me. Yeah, my bad.
You said that you wouldn't care if the tables were turned and Bryce was at the party and CJ Stroud was hanging out with his teammates working on his craft. And I 110% do not believe that. If I was Bryce at that all-white party, you would have been putting a nail in the coffin.
I agree. Yes, you would, Greg. I agree.
At this point in the season, I wouldn't have given a shit.
You
nope,
would care.
I don't care.
You would be all over Bryce's ass, man.
I agree.
Hey, hold on. Can you wait till the call's over.
And y'all talking about who's like surprise breakout player for us this year? I know everybody's talking about TMJ and Mingo and DJ Chark, and I love all of them. I think all of them can have great years, but I really think people are overlooking Laviska Shenault. I think Laviska can have a fucking explosive year, dude. I think this dude is poised to have just a fucking breakout year. He's going to be playing multiple positions. And last year, dude, every time he touched the ball, he's one of those players, like, when he touches the ball, no matter where you're at on the field, it can go for a touchdown or it can go for 2 yards. But whenever he touches the ball, he can make shit happen and take it 85 yards to the house. That's just the type of player he is. He's a playmaker with the ball. Some people have that ability. I believe he has that ability. He's exciting to watch when he has the ball. And I really think that he is poised to have a good year with all the weapons we have. Everyone's going to be focusing on TMJ and Miles Sanders and Hurst and Mingo and all them boys. And Laviska, I think, is going to sneak. I mean, he's going to sneak right under the radar. And I really think Laviska can have a huge, huge year. And I hope so. I love him. He seems like a great guy. He plays hard. And I would love nothing more than that. Anyways, guys, keep pounding.
Yeah,
great call.
I'll let Greg respond first because I think he's got to defend himself here.
Greg, before you respond, I found an updated picture of Kelvin Benjamin. Here he is. He's not looking great.
Not that dark skin.
He's not looking great. It looks like he's really hit the.
I hate that because I do love Mark Henry.
The Bojangles and the Shake Shack. He's been hitting it hard, but that's not surprising. So
I'm sorry, but if Kelvin Benjamin was as big as Mark Henry, he would have been an incredible fullback.
Hey, and I've met that guy. He's an amazing guy and a fantastic athlete, Mark Henry, by the way, just so you know.
Oh yeah.
All right. So response to the caller. Sorry, I thought you were G-Baby because I thought for sure G-Baby was calling. I stepped away. They told me that somebody called about me. I thought for sure it was G-Baby. My bad about that. With the Bryce Young thing, no, I would not feel any different if it was reversed. I wouldn't, because I don't give a damn about this time of year. I really don't. I don't give a shit about this time of year. I don't give a shit about the underwear Olympics. I don't care about any of that stuff. That stuff does not change who you are as a football player. They are not playing football right now. They're running dilly-dally practice plays with no defense. I do not give a shit what is going on right now. Now, I do like the fact that Bryce Young is looking into the book and learning. I like that. But if I had Bryce Young for one night go to a party when he's 21 years old and he's invited to a party with a ton of celebrities, no, I would not give a shit. So no, it does not matter to me. You can think differently, but no, I would not care.
I'm not getting back in this conversation. What a waste of fucking
dumb.
air that
I agree.
You're the one that brought it up, Cody. No, you're the one that made it.
And I'm right. You haven't proven shit.
No, you're not. If Trevor Lawrence went to that party, Cody, you wouldn't be saying shit about it.
Yes, I would. That's the same thing that he said about you and Bryce. Yes, I would. If you're a rookie in the NFL, you haven't proven a damn thing. Why are you pounding around with fucking celebrities?
So you're telling me that a rookie in the NFL
we're not
has
talking
to spend
about
every
this, guys.
second of their day, second of their day, devoted to what's going on.
No, they shouldn't, Greg.
They don't.
Cody
no
is
players
being
have.
like,
earned it.
this is Cody's fucking Skip Bayless take.
They haven't earned it. You're a no
Skip
one.
Bayless is
right
on
now,
a 2-month hiatus, and he invaded Cody's body on this take.
Hey man, I'm just saying, dude. I would not want a star player that hasn't proven anything. Or I shouldn't say star player. He hasn't proven himself to be that yet. They shouldn't be at a party hanging around with celebrities.
More importantly, where is Kelvin Benjamin? That's what I really want to know. I care. Is this more important than your stupid conversation about the party?
No one is less important than Kelvin fucking Benjamin.
Couple of things. No, I got some questions. I looked at the Instagram, and I don't know. Maybe it says I'm following, but it still has this person. Because I don't use Instagram a lot. It says he has no posts. I got a couple of questions. One of this is, how old do you think this picture of Kelvin Benjamin is? Like if you were on a date and you get him like, you're like 48 and you give him your 22-year-old.
Good shape right there, man.
It's like he was 24. He's 23 there.
Bro, you know Kelvin Benjamin pushing 270 right now, bro.
No, I don't. But
yes, you do. Yes, he is, man.
But
Football was
like, imagine the dating gap. What do they call that? Where you put like you go on a date and you show up there and the picture doesn't match. Like it's like
catfishing.
So that's catfishing. Even
it's
that's the least form of catfishing.
I just showed y'all an up-to-date photo of Kelvin Benjamin. I don't know why I don't.
The other thing is, look at his profile. He doesn't post. He's got 300,000 followers for not doing anything.
Look how arrogant his handle.
Look at what it says. What does it say? Fuck how you feel. I'm free. What do you think that means? Let's read between the lines. Is he free from the NFL?
He made a few million in the NFL for 2 or 3 years, and he doesn't have to worry about anything for the next 5 or 10.
Fucking your shit up.
So that's what it means. Yeah.
Maybe he's free to eat.
Wow.
Man, he's like free from y'all's criticism, bitch. Well, you know what, Kelvin Benjamin? Your criticism is never going away on this show. In fact, I'm starting an effort right now. I want a candid photo of Kelvin Benjamin. Somebody out there has to know a way to just see, how is Kelvin Benjamin the only motherfucker on the planet that has no internet presence? Folks, I want a picture in the last year, an update. We need Kelvin Benjamin updates on this show.
Probably because fans are flaming him all the time.
We're coming for you, though. We need this. I need this in my life. You're not off the hook yet, buddy. Next call. And then we'll go back into, why are we even, I'm taking a lot of calls here. Well, hold on. Where did it go? See, we heard this one. I think
Sideshow said free to eat whatever.
Hey guys, don't play that last one. He just my dad just.
He said don't do that one.
Yeah, he said don't do that one either. Apparently,
33-second call, and then we're going.
Hey guys, Kyle again. I don't know if this call will get played or not, but this is a real quick one. Tony, can you release the Friday free for alls on the podcast on like Apple Podcasts?
You want it?
I need the Friday free for alls, man. I do a lot of driving to work.
Okay.
Long drive. Okay. I need it. Give the people what they want, man.
All right. No, that alone will make me do it. Is the only reason I haven't done it to this point.
It felt like it was a live type of content.
Well, there's a lot of people shouting over each other all the time.
It's like I could not imagine like running on the treadmill and listening to the fucking Friday free for all.
Well, I mean, no, but
I feel like somebody's trying to punch me in the back of the head or something.
All of my faithful, the dudes that show up every Friday, they've gotten better at knowing hey, we're trying to let one person go at a time. It still gets a little wild, but no, there are some great conversations that need to be listened to by people.
It is.
I'm happy you made that.
What
call.
A great name! How about this? How about it became what you said it was going to be? Cody said a long time ago, he said, I want to do this. I'm going to call it this. And it really just turned. They were like, you know what? We're running with this name, bro. This is motherfucking mosh pit of Panther talk.
Bro, it rolls off the tongue, baby. C3 Friday free for all. You already know what it is. For the fans, by the fans. Be a part every Friday at 7 p.m. You can be on that Apple podcast. Damn it.
You're meeting some real personalities there, from Anthony to Pickle to G Baby. I mean, the callers,
dude.
Yeah, man. The C3 army is strong right now.
Let's jump back into the show, Cody. The number's 252-228-5098. I want to hear your thoughts about Muhsin Muhammad. Julius Pepper, somebody call up. We got 82 people watching. Somebody call up and tell us what you remember about Julius Peppers. Maybe it's something from his basketball career at Carolina. Maybe it's him just doing some crazy-ass interception for 101 yards and somehow not scoring a touchdown and then sucking down a whole can of damn oxygen like me hitting a damn like it was me trying to hit a nitrous balloon when I was 16. Cody, what do we got? The C3 Panthers podcast we've completed 10 seasons now. This will be our 11th year. It's kind of that 10-11 cusp. I have to count. It's so crazy. We started in 2013. Come a long way. Big year for us.
2023. So this is the 10 years of C3.
If we can get September, that's when we started. I think it was like about 4 weeks in or something.
And to mark such a joyous occasion, man, we have new ways for people to support the C3 Panthers podcast, baby. That's right. We're talking about dope-ass t-shirts and apparel. We've got shirts. We've got mugs. Look, man, we're even, Tony mentioned the army of C3 faithful. Even G Baby has inspired a shirt.
He's got a whole clothing line. G Baby got a clothing line coming.
But we're gonna have to do more for Pickle. We're gonna have to do all the ones for the boys that are adding to the C3 family, man. But listen, if you would like to support us, this is a way that you can do it and show off that you are indeed a part of C3 Panther Nation, man. Go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Greg is the author of these fine shirts, man. Appreciate Greg for throwing them together, man. Tony and Greg have been working hard on the merch. Boys, C3 2003 is our year. And this
you
is
can go to
right here.
All the way. The way you can get this stuff is you go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com. It's print on demand. And so what you do is you buy it off our website. They print it and ship it to you. I got the next level t-shirt. So every t-shirt that you get, by the way, you can also buy some gear that I still have like in boxes that I've been trying to peddle for a decade here. You can get the Voice of Panther Nation, CarolinaCatChronicles.com t-shirt, One Nation, One Voice on the back. You can get that on the website too. I mail those out independently. A small way to help us, but it's a cool thing. We're just trying to offer some more things, more ways as we continue to grow. What I do love about this is we're going to continue to make this fan-based and fan-friendly and fan-fun. I am going to make a PG version of the You Make Me Sick t-shirt instead of You Make Me Fucking Sick. It doesn't say, it's FKN.
Yeah.
But I do love this is the idea that we have a G Baby line already. Yeah. On the back, it says G Baby. I put a little shout out to him on the back where the tag is. We don't even have a mention of the podcast on this. It's just, this is the G Baby shirt. You Make Me Fucking Sick. I want to see how these look when they come out. I think it's going to be great. Man, wait until we get a Pickle shirt. We're going to have some cool stuff coming. So the more creative personality you get in this show, the more love you're going to get in these ways. You can support us by going to CarolinaCatChronicles.com, hitting the shop tab under gear, just like that. Very simple. My favorite shirt, this was my idea. Lynn did these. If you go down, also talking about fan-based, Lynn Hart designed those three. The Keep Pounding, the Put It in the Bank, and the I Stand with Cam.
Yeah, I love those too.
Yeah. The Put It in the Bank and the Keep Pounding are my brain children. Is those ideas. Lynn, I told her I started that hashtag I Stand with Cam, and I said, how can we make a shirt out of this? She came up with this. This was awesome. That silhouette, Cam Newton. You can still get some of those. I still got a couple. It's limited selection. There's a limited edition. That Keep Pounding, though, is the dope one. We went to England. That was a cool shirt right there.
Dude, I love the Cam Wow, man. The Cam Wow was amazing.
What a great
idea.
Yeah. What a great idea.
I still got a few of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I still got probably about 20. I was giving them away in the fantasy football thing every year for like 5 years. I had 800 of them, and now I'm down and I see that stack and it's like this big now. And I'm like, oh.
And we have another request, JJ with the $4.99. says, Tony, is it also possible for you to upload to the free for all to Spotify too, please?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I'll just start putting it out on audio format. If you guys want it, you'll get it. I just have to, it's going to have to come with a warning to people. Like, don't listen to this in the car with your kids.
I mean, you can say that about this show too.
Probably. Actually, I've had some people mention that in the past. All right. What's up next is with the Carolina Panthers, guys.
Yeah. So to keep it Julius Pepper centric. Brian Burns, he said the only jersey I owned as a kid was Julius Pepper. So this is kind of full circle, man. And again, a lot of the things, and I mentioned this earlier, Tony, some of the things that were said about Julius Peppers are also kind of being said about Brian Burns. And that's, it's almost like, hey, history doesn't repeat itself, but it always rhymes, a wise man once said. So I found that funny. Figured that we would throw that in there. This is very interesting. Staying on the topic of Brian Burns, there was a poll done, and basically they polled NFL executives, players, scouts, and coaches, and they did a top 10 list of defensive ends in the NFL. And our very own Brian Burns came in at number 7, right behind Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett, Michael Parsons, TJ Watt, Hassan Reddick, and Max Crosby. Do you think this is a good number for Brian Burns?
I don't see him ahead of Bosa, to be honest with you. I don't see Bosa in the number 10 spot, but I'm not as up to date on this. But no, I think he's a top 10, but no question. 7 sounds about right. I just don't know if I put Bosa at the end,
This has been the point with Brian Burns, right?
That's Joey Bosa, and Joey Bosa has not been the same.
Been hurt a lot, right?
that he had previously been. He's been hurt a lot, as Tony alluded to, but he also hasn't been producing at a high level for the past couple of years.
Kind of the name recognition. I am surprised I am surprised, like Greg, that he's not just ahead of Brian Burns, whether it's right or wrong.
Just because his name is you said, recognition and
exactly. And the one name that's actually a little, this is, I think, been my point with Brian Burns is that he is a top 10 defensive end, but you could make an argument that he's not a top 5, which I just feel like we're splitting hairs. Like he's he's
in the right.
We just need him
close to it. Yeah,
I'm just happy that Cam Jordan isn't even in the top 10 anymore.
Yes. Oh, great point.
Von Miller
do you
barely
think,
is.
Mike,
he's not even in the honorable
too much love? Is Micah Parsons is he that dominant that we're ready?
Yes. Yeah, he is. He's going to be a MVP type player if he wants to be.
If they use him the right way, he's going to be. The problem was early on when in his rookie year, they tried to use him as like a actual middle linebacker or a coverage linebacker, and that's not where he's going to. That's not where he was going to be. And then they adapted to being pass rusher, and he is a pass rusher through and through. That is his. That I'm not saying he's not able to perform at a high level with the other stuff, but he is not anywhere close to being as good of a player in any other field other than pass rushing.
I think this is a great placement for Brian Burns. What I like about this is that Brian Burns has the potential, if he was just on a better team, as in the Panthers being better, going forward, to infiltrate that top 5. Right? Is the fact that he's getting around the league, he's recognized in that tier of player. And he's kind of doing it under difficult circumstances in Carolina. So imagine if you put him and you build a defense to where he's not he could just play fast like a 2013 Panthers defense where they had 60 sacks. Imagine if he's on that team, all of a sudden he's a top 5.
You mean like Philly did with Hassan Reddick?
Is he doing this now?
That's what Philly did with Hassan Reddick.
This is Hype Man Lucci posted this to his Twitter account saying Brian Burns is 260.
Be careful.
And this is how agile and fast this man is. I mean,
be careful, Brian. Too close. This is what my mom would say. Too close. Too
You
close
don't have
to
to
the
toe tap in
fence.
practice, bro. You got this.
Too close. Just go home and get in bubble wrap, man. We need you so much.
But by the way, I do want to say this. Right now, Brian Burns is number 7 on that list. But I really think him playing outside linebacker, again, talking about the parallels between Peppers and Burns, I think this could be the best thing for Brian Burns. And I think at the end of this year, we're going to be talking top 5. I really do think so.
Maybe
a great point. If you look at some of those players too, some of the guys that are really high end on those lists play in 3-4 defenses, and that's where they've eaten, right? Von Miller. Isn't the Pittsburgh a 3-4? Is that TJ Watt? Is he up there?
Yep.
Was he ahead of him? So I mean, like, is now what if you put Brian Burns in a scheme where his abilities start to show even more on the stat line? You're right. Is very interesting and
think
very
of all
scary.
those near misses. Think of all those near misses that he's had in recent years, where it's like, there were a couple plays where if he would have had just a slight
almost
a change in technique, dude, he could have been a 12+ sack defensive end the past 3 years in a row.
Well, I
and
think
it
it's
continues
also
to get better and better, man. He's so nimble and so agile.
Right.
Good.
Well, one of the things that I think he's not praised enough about is, even though he may not get home, his hurries and knockdowns of quarterbacks are pretty. I know it's not as pretty of a stat as sacks are, but it's pretty impressive when you compare those numbers with other people in his position. He's constantly performing at a really high level when it comes to pressure on the quarterback, which I think is an unsung stat, because pressure on the quarterback leads to mistakes, and that's, once you have all the pieces on the back end, from the cornerbacks and whatnot, and you have a healthy secondary, when you start having that pressure that's causing the quarterback to make mistakes or get that ball out early, I think that's going to be a big deal with this new defense that we have coming up. Hopefully he's able to put 2 and 2 together and not just get hurries, though.
I tell you, though, if I see
I just want to say this, the PFF guys, they, again, take that for what it's worth. They say that pressures, if you're a defensive end and you get pressures more consistently than you get sacks, that's actually a good thing. At least that's what they say.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a okay.
It's better than someone
who
just gets a couple of sacks but is non-existent in the game. Other than that,
right? But that statement in itself is incorrect. You would much rather have a sack over pressure any day of the week.
Well, not all sacks are equal. How about that? Right? It's like a garbage sack in the fourth quarter of a meaningless game. Is
okay.
Not.
Well, I can say the same about a pressure. If you get a pressure in the fourth quarter of a meaningless game,
they're just saying that if you are getting pressures at a high clip, you are in their backfield disrupting the play and disrupting the offensive line.
It's not better than a sack, though. It's just it's very good, but it's not better than a sack.
Not saying it's better. I'm saying if you get more pressure, if you get pressures,
it's
more
not
consistently than you're getting sacks. It's not a bad thing.
So the difference, the difference here is where I would say the difference here, Greg, is they're saying that sacks, like you can have 10 sacks, right, and never get pressure outside of those 10 sacks,
right.
But you can have 9 sacks, and that doesn't look as great as 10 sacks, but your pressure rate is astronomical, and that means you're impacting the play on every single play at that rate.
That's a great way of explaining. Are you drinking a martini, bro? I love.
I'm drinking wine out of a martini glass. All my wine glasses.
I love martinis. Cody, speaking of, as we go back to that list, I saw one where Dove Kleiman put up another one similar to this, but it was about defensive tackles, and Derek Brown was not in the top, but he was an honorable mention at the bottom. And so what I think is, I was excited just to see some Panthers names from people that are in the league getting some pub. It's one thing for us fans to be talking about the shit, but like, it's really exciting to me to see players, scouts, coaches to look at Brian Burns at that light as a 7. That's some validation there. High things. Oh, I did want to put that stupid video back up. Brian Burns out there. Be careful, Brian. Go home and rest up. Be careful. Watch that foot. If I see this motherfucker doing this season, he better be getting an interception. Because I just don't feel like there's another world where I want to see Brian Burns running 30 yards, 25 yards down in coverage on the sideline. It better be an interception. I want to see this mug. That is not the direction I want you running. Run the other way.
I mean, he's looking like a wide receiver out there. Looking like
if he catches the ball on toe taps, yeah, he can run that direction.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be an interception because if that is a touchdown where someone takes it to the house over him, we're going to be like, why the fuck is Brian Burns out there in coverage
But to be fair, he does have those long-ass arms. He's got the wingspan. He has everything that you need, man. He is a problem. And the fact that sometimes the outside linebacker, they do have to drop back in coverage. And I like what Lucci said above the video, too. He said the transition from defensive end to outside linebacker will be smooth as this video. 6'5", 260 pounds, bigger, much faster, smarter, and highly motivated to be the best in the league. Year 5 at 25. Thanks to God for the
25 years old.
This is my only thing. And look. Everybody's getting me in the chat about white wine. I ran out of liquor. That's why I'm drinking my wife's white wine because I ran out of liquor. Okay, so
shut up. We're out.
Yeah. Look, I'm not trying to take away from this. Okay, but we're seeing this video where he's running, covering nobody, and it looks like the ball is thrown to him.
It wasn't. It doesn't look like it. It was.
That's what I'm saying.
To a spot.
So he can run and catch a ball to a spot. That's great. That's great.
Goodness. Thanks, Greg.
But that does not mean that he can pick a ball off. He can not cover somebody and pick a ball
over
off.
here.
I
am the wet blanket.
We want to see him go in a different direction. Don't want to see that.
Before we get into any other chats or any other topics, I've been trying to bring this up, but I haven't found a good spot. And I do want to mention this. The Rumble chat right now, ZCD's in the Rumble chat, and he did bring something up that I want to talk about. And he has a question. He says, okay, hear me out. We have one of the richest owners in football, and we finessed the number one quarterback. Did Tepper buy us a couple Super Bowl picks? It's a very...
How do you mean?
So basically, do you think Bryce is going to win a Super Bowl, basically, is what he's asking.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Do you have to give David Tepper credit for this past offseason?
If he don't win it his rookie year, I'm fucking disappointed.
I'm insane. No, look, I think that everything that David Tepper has done, and we mentioned this last Tuesday, when you look at, okay, so for example, last Tuesday we did, what were we talking about at this time last year? And actually one of those things is in the news again. We're getting ready to bring it up. But we were talking a lot of bad slander on David Tepper's name, and rightfully so. We felt like our Panthers organization was in a downward spiral, and we were kind of grasping for straws. Now, with this coaching staff, with this draft, and moving up to the number one pick for the best quarterback in the draft, you have to give David Tepper credit for that, for giving the green light on all these different things.
Real quick, I'll say one thing. We got ZCD, we got K-Bosh, we got Panther Pickle in the Rumble chat. Everybody wants to get in Rumble. Check us out, man. Seriously, let's get this Rumble chat going.
Rumble up.
Give us hit the Rumble button, hit the subscribe, all that good stuff. Rumble's just as good, if not better, than YouTube. So
Greg is on a mission.
I'm on a mission.
Greg is like me at work with Google Drive in 2014, trying to get everybody being like, let's use this thing called the cloud. Look, and people are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
We almost beat YouTube out last week in downloads in the first week we went on Rumble.
All right.
Okay. In the first week on Rumble, we almost beat YouTube out on downloads.
Das Vidania.
Beat YouTube out. That's all I'm saying.
Baby Rumble. I love it.
Yeah.
C3 everywhere, man.
Yeah, Tepper, look, is the money thing for Tepper is it's not hurting, but Tepper, man, what a PR flip.
Yeah, well, it really is a PR flip, but this is a perfect transition to the next thing that we're going to talk about.
There you go.
Because it is now being reported that Mecklenburg County, that's where the stadium is, says they say they are not going to be giving any public funding to the Carolina Panthers.
Good for them.
Forsyth County, baby. That's all I'm saying. We'll take you.
You guys ain't got that tax base.
You know. Take the Stokes then. I don't care. Stokes County. I'm cool.
I like this. This is a good move.
Let me read a little bit of this. If the Carolina Panthers owner David Tepper wants a new or renovated stadium, he'll have to build it without the help of Mecklenburg County. This past week, County Manager Dina DiOrio shot down the idea of handing over public subsidies to the local professional sports franchise, the Panthers and the Charlotte Hornets. The topic came up during a conversation regarding the development of a new tennis complex in the River District. One the county is spending up to $30 million on. When asked by the commissioner, Pat Cottom, if devoting such funds to the complex would eventually lead to the same for pro teams, he would say that I have had conversations with David Tepper in the past that the county would not participate in any financial support for stadium upgrades because what you, Cottom, said that the city has a specific tax on hotels and food and beverage preparation that's dedicated to that purpose, and that county does not have that.
So the city, so this is separating city versus county.
County, right.
And what they have passed is a hotel revenue tax that has helped contribute to those funds in the past, I'm guessing, right? Because there have been significant.
Now this is big news, and then I'll pass the mic, Greg. David Tepper has said in the past that he will not be building a stadium alone.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you why that Mecklenburg County has expanded or at least put money into food and hospitality in the last few years, at least, is because the college I went to, Johnson & Wales, down there in now Charlotte, is one of the biggest culinary schools and hospitality schools in the world. So now they have this big school in their hub in the downtown dead middle of Charlotte, right beside the Panthers practice field. And they're trying to promote that. Since I went to Charlotte, the food game has gone up tremendously there. It's insane. Imagine you put a culinary school at the top of the world and a hospitality school at the top of the world in the middle of your city. Of course, food's going to go up and be better. I think they're buying into that.
A couple of things, Cody, if we were going to talk about how a stadium would get funded by the public and what Tepper's going to want is the question is how much does just the county manager have to say in that, right? Who are the other people that will be voting on this beside that individual, right? The other thing so it's not like just because this guy is against it doesn't mean that it's a dead letter or something.
Yeah.
Whatever the phrase is. The other thing, though, like I do think is the important part, or one thing that he's saying is this, which is like you say, hey, we bring all this revenue. Well, you bring it to downtown Charlotte, you bring it to certain areas, and that's why they have that restaurant tax. That's why they have that. But like a pizza shop 70 miles down the road or whatever, not that far, but like 25, outside of the county area, is the economic benefit? Does it trickle down that far on the return of investment? And what I want to say this is, Tepper, I know you want to have a Super Bowl, and that sounds cool, but like first, I probably won't be able to go to the Super Bowl. Bank of America is a fucking nice stadium. I don't and they've given some public funds twice now. They've had 2 renovations since 2015 that were heavily subsidized by the city and things like that. And then the last point that I was going to bring up was, why are you going to ask that about a $30 minimum like tennis complex? We're talking $1 billion. Like the difference between 30 million and $1 billion is fucking way different.
Also, here's the other
kind of uppity.
Here's the other piece to that is, like when you look at the situation with the Indianapolis Colts, they don't own their stadium. The city owns their stadium. So the city can make decisions, for instance, like last year when they had and this is again just based on my understanding of listening to things like Pat McAfee and stuff like that. But they had that whole thing where they had to create an neutral ground if there was ended up being a playoff contest against the Bengals and the Bills because of that whole situation with the Majik. Anyway, there was going to be a potential for it to go to Indianapolis, but Indianapolis declined. Like the actual city declined because they had a volleyball tournament in the stadium for that. Like,
and that's what I was. And you're muted, Tony. But that's what I was wondering too, though. Like, wouldn't it be such a baller move by David Tepper? Like, if he literally paid for his own stadium, which, let's be real, it would be a pretty penny. But David Tepper has plenty enough pretty pennies to be able to do so. If you're him, I know it's expensive, but wouldn't it be such a baller move? Then you literally, if he owns the stadium, he essentially never has to ask the city of Charlotte for shit, right? He can do whatever the hell he wants in that stadium.
But the counter to that is, will there be a city willing to actually pay for his, so he's not having to come out of pocket for it? Is there a city willing to negotiate?
Well, first, man, what a disaster. And like, I'm not even going to think about the idea. But here, actually, do we really want to get scary talk? Is that I've heard reports about the future of the NFL that they're interested in expanding upwards to 40 teams, dude.
No,
that's the dumbest shit.
Dumb shit.
No, but they're already like they are dead set on adding 2 international teams, like
one Germany and one the UK, I think. Right?
Gonna be.
How are you ever gonna make that happen?
Look, there are talks. Well,
it's not just talks. Yeah, Tony's right. Like, this is happening. Like, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
So what, you're going to tell me that these young players that they're going to get drafted to go live in Germany?
Yes.
Dude, how are you going to the time
you mean
difference
like
alone?
like you mean, oh, dude, I don't give a shit. If you're getting paid what you're getting paid and you're going to go to live in Germany, you're not going to be living in bad circumstances. Like, come on. Let's get out of here. Look, this is all about money. Money.
The point,
okay, listen.
That the NFL prints money, Greg. That's why they will do this, and this is why I would say this is, look, I understand billionaires not wanting to foot the bill because nobody should foot the bill. It's kind of like one of those things is like if you could get a loan for a big ass purchase for 2%, it's better to just keep your money in your pocket and let that money work for you a different way. Mm-hmm. So I understand the owner's goal and impetus to try to make as much money with at the least stretch and expense or stress to their own financial situation. That's what they're built and tuned to do as businessmen. On the other hand, though, is like these franchises just go up incredibly. Like, I mean, look at the fucking the Commanders. Look, that dude bought that shit for like $400 million in the 90s.
Yeah.
And now it's like a so these teams
$7 billion, wasn't it? It was something
$7
crazy.
billion. And can I put in there real quick when we're talking about money, just so people have an idea of what that difference is? 1 million seconds is 12 years. 12 days, sorry. 1 billion seconds is 31 years. Okay. So you're talking about 12 days to 31 years. So when you're talking about $400 million, it's a lot of money. As soon as you get to billion, you're talking about totally different kinds of money.
Right.
Look, but 1 trillion seconds. 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years.
But here's
once
why,
you get past millions, it's ridiculous. It's goofy.
And here's why this is an important, just thing. Basically, the only thing the NFL right now is at the top of its game here in the United States. But from a worldwide perspective, it is not like a juggernaut. This is a giant move, and this is why they're going to do it. This is not a matter of again, it's not going to be a matter of if they're going to do it. It's a matter of when, because right now they want to be able to create a team that people in Germany have a stake in wanting to be successful. Now that's going to be a potential foothold they have in that country when it comes to that stuff. And then you have the potential for other countries to start to come along as well. Like you think about Mexico and Canada and all that stuff. I think,
other even domestically, the United States.
Keep Canada out.
But this is great. I mean, so I hear it perfectly what you're saying. There is a massive there's a massive fan base in Germany. But I'm saying is, how are you going to, one, what division would they be in? Two, are you telling me that a team is supposed to travel to Germany twice a year? And
No.
then
Do
hang
that
on.
now.
So then,
No,
and
not
then how
this
many?
year, but-
Well, hold on. How many times is this team from Germany going to be traveling back and forth from Germany to America, from Germany to America?
Nah, they're probably going to play
America.
half the season on the road and half the season at
You know
home.
what, Cody? Boo fucking who? Seriously. You're getting paid
No,
millions
Greg,
of
you're
dollars a
not
year.
understanding.
No.
It's
I am
not
understanding.
about-
No, hold on. I am
No,
understanding.
I think he's talking about just logistically. How
Yes,
do you
it's
like
not
make
about
that
You can
them
fly
wanting
on
to
Wednesday.
do it.
You can fly on Wednesday morning and be in Germany by Wednesday afternoon. Okay? Period. All right.
Man, it's 10 hours, dude.
You play
No,
8
you're
hours.
trivializing
You
it,
can
dude. The
fly.
amount of
You can
time
leave
that
on
you
Wednesday
have to
morning and be in
travel.
Germany by Wednesday afternoon. 10 hours.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're
That's what I'm
jet
saying.
lag, but then are you
Okay,
practicing?
jet lag
with
by
bias,
Thursday.
Cody.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You play 1 day a week. Seriously, let's stop giving these millionaires credit
stop, Greg.
for
This
being
is
It's not
so
about the
fucking hard. I'm
millionaires. It's
sorry.
about how
No,
hard
I'm
it would
sorry.
be to even make this
Here,
happen.
I don't know. It's
I don't
actually
give a shit,
possible,
man.
Cody,
You get
and
paid
this is
to
what they're
work
going to
out
do.
and play football.
They're
Seriously,
going to add a second
How hard is your
bye,
life?
Cody. Cody, they're going to add a second bye. That's what I would do is a second bye week. And what you do is you have them play maybe 2 4-week stints. They play a 4-week stint at home in Germany. Then they play a 4-week stint in, or they probably play a 4-week stint on the road, then a 4-week stint at home, because then the teams that travel there can all have a bye after that game, right? And then they'll go back on the road for 4 games, back at home for 8 or something, or whatever to get to 17. A second bye would be necessary for that. Probably need to put them on Thursday night football 1 week, and then they wouldn't play for another 10 days. There would be something maybe they could do with that. But we go to this right here. There's 2 stories. Look, this is a Bleacher Report says this. If the NFL, not Bleacher Report, this is Pro Football Talk. Expansion to 40 teams isn't as crazy as it sounds. Yeah, gotta change tabs. Hold on. You see.
But you have to go to 40 weeks, though, right? Like, there's no way you, or not 40. Sorry.
There'll be more divisions.
At least 20 weeks.
It says if the NFL offers St. Louis an expansion team in an effort to resolve the Rams relocation litigation, the league wouldn't move to an odd number of teams. The league would add a second team if it adds a first one, which gives rise to a bigger question. How many more teams could the NFL eventually add? Regardless of whether the league successfully expands the regular season to 18 games in order to increase inventory for betting purposes, it wants to do it. The question is, when can it persuade the NFLPL Players Association to do it?
Yep.
Adding teams adds inventory, though. With more and more young, capable quarterbacks entering the NFL, it's not crazy to think that the talent pool for college football can support 34, 36, 38, or even 40 teams. Yes, 40 teams. If the expansion process from 32 begins, 40 becomes the natural ending point. That would result in 8 divisions of 5 teams. And it would make sense at that point to have a 16-team playoff system. There could be even preliminary round that trims the field of 20 teams to 16, with 6 teams in each conference getting a bye and 4 others playing in a new wild card round, locking in a field for 8 teams per conference.
You're going to get diluted football.
Why?
No, you're going to get diluted football is what you're going to get, and it's just not going to be good. I'm telling you,
Oh,
they are
Greg,
milking the cow
don't
too much.
stop.
Look,
It's
oh, come on.
But
Okay.
here's
Wait,
the
you're
alternative.
confusing me. Are you in favor of this or not?
Not at all. I
mean,
don't think that it's going to work.
I want football all year, buddy.
I was going to say, I don't disagree to the fact that it might dilute the product, but I also think that it opens up. I'm a believer in that when the more people you have involved with the, potential talent moving into the NFL, the better the quality of the game would be. So for instance, right now, we only pull from a talent pool in the United States for the most part, because people don't grow up playing football in the UK and Germany and all these places very much, right? And they especially don't have access to the type of coaching that we have access to now. So the idea of expanding the NFL not only opens up the market, but it also opens up the potential for kids to want to actually play football in England, or American football in England, American football in Germany.
Where was the number 1 draft pick for the basketball at from?
What's that?
Win a combo, the number 1 draft pick for the NBA this year.
Wembanyama?
Where is he from, Greg? Like France or some shit.
Yeah, something like that.
That's what CK's saying is like, soccer. I shit on soccer, right? But it is the world's largest sport.
It's okay. It's
I
only
agree
the
with
world's
Kevin.
largest sport
Kevin
because
says-
it's one of the oldest sports played in the world. It's
But
not.
Kevin
It doesn't have
says,
anything to do
Oh,
with.
it's played worldwide. That's why
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
the world's
It's
largest
worldwide. It's
sport.
one of the
No Chinese
one of the
people be
world's
playing
sports.
football.
Cricket
People weren't playing
plays
football.
longer.
People were not playing football until you got to America
Cricket's
100 years
crazy,
ago.
dude.
That's
But
it.
how many people
So
are going to
people
watch
lose track
every
of time.
every
Yeah.
NBA game and every MLB game? I agree. I think it dilutes it.
Exactly.
I don't think that we need 40 different teams, man. Like you're doing too much. And Greg, I know you kind of belittled this dude, but I'm telling you, asking a bunch of young 20-year-olds to go and live in a foreign country where they don't speak the language, yes, it's for millions of dollars, but not everyone's going to love that, man. And I do foresee an NFLPA battle.
Well, good. They can
with
just
them
fucking
saying,
devote their
like,
time to football. Like, instead of CJ Stroud going to this party.
It's easy for you to say, though, man.
It's easy for us to say. So let's put this on this level. Then
Get the joke.
All of us
Bryce
who are
Young,
not world class athletes, Okay.
You didn't get
CK,
it, Cody?
Tony, Cody.
Oh, you were talking
if somebody gave you $3 million right now to go practice football for a year, would you do it?
Not even a year, really.
For 3 years.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
No, don't listen to
That's all
Cody
I'm
on
saying
this.
right
When
there.
people go to Russia and play basketball for Mugs go live in
Yeah.
Croatia and play basketball.
If you're
just
going to
to
get paid to go work out and do something you love to do, why the fuck wouldn't you do it?
I don't
That's all
know
I'm
if
saying.
it would dilute football as much as it would other, because football
It
is
would.
such, what's so great about it is that there's such a small amount of games.
Well, I'll tell you,
Right. I
what's diluting
think
football
adding
right
too
now
many
is-
games would be more problematic than more teams. I think you would just see less teams as much. But I do think like CK is not only, even if you don't think abroad, CK, there are a lot of really good players that are league on the cusp of being in the league. There's just not enough spots. So if there were 4 more different teams, there would be 4 more special teams opportunities. And that's not an insane, we're not talking about giant, overly crazy size rosters. We're talking about 53. You would add 4 teams, you add 200 more players to the league.
See, but now you're getting into semantics of things. Like, honestly, like, I'm not going to lie. I guarantee you, there is an artist, a female artist out there who has the talent that Taylor Swift does.
Sure.
I guarantee it. There's probably some that are better.
There are better.
That are not successful.
So what does that got to do with anything,
It's
Greg?
all about being in the right place at the right time. That's what life's about, dude.
But if we have more places,
when you start to add more stuff to include more people, all you do is dilute the sample. All you do is dilute the sample. There are going to be some people who do not make it, even though they should. Period. There are going to be some people who make it, even though they shouldn't. Period. That's life.
Bro, Cam Newton would be starting.
That's life.
If there were 4 more teams in the NFL, Cam Newton would be a starting
he'd be a superstar in Germany, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he'd be the starting quarterback on a 1 in 19 team. Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, well, we got Bryce and he lives in Croatia and he only studies. Well, we got Cam and he goes to the fucking
he's at all the fashion shows.
People got to stop thinking that superstars in the world are the only people who can do that. There are tons of people who can do the exact same thing they're doing. They just haven't been discovered.
Here's my question.
I hear you. Greg. I would be excited.
Here's my question to Greg and maybe even you, Cody. Right now, what do we know about business? Right, if you want to remain at the top, you can't just continue to maintain what you're doing. Right, if somebody's going to come in and overtake it. So as an NFL, the thought is, how do they continue to get bigger? How do they continue to be more financially successful? Right. Yeah. And we've tapped. I mean, to be quite honest, we've pretty much tapped the North American market. Right. Like there's not much more they can do in the United States, like to be able to try to grow the brand and whatnot. They have topped out.
Yeah.
Right. They have
Austin. San Antonio.
No, I'm not even talking about getting the new teams. I'm talking about from just a perspective. Like even if you add new teams, you're still having the same issue that Greg's talking about, which is the potential for a diluted product. I'm talking about, what does the NFL do if it's not to add more teams, especially in different markets, and in different countries even? What do you do if you're the NFL to try to continue to grow? Because that's going to be the if there is not if the answer is not as easy as as simple as the idea of just adding more teams, then you're
how do
already
you
going to lose that war. Right.
How do you expand the brand beyond? And I think, if anything, the NBA is probably the model on this. While there's not international teams, they have.
I don't know what the NBA does.
But they have an international presence. Like, they've really invested a lot in like China at times. You know what I'm saying? And that's like, you go back to Yao Ming, but it's the fact that it's not just about getting players from those countries too. They're like a bunch of people that love J.R. Smith in China. You know what I'm saying? And there's jerseys being sold. They're probably all knockoff. Come on. I mean,
but I mean, CK is right. I mean, listen, whenever they put games out in Germany and the UK, they sell out in no time.
More eyes. It's like Netflix. Netflix,
the fan base is there.
Well, even if you have to think too, is that we're looking at it from the game and the fan standpoint. What CK is really hitting on is the business standpoint. And there's never a point in a top, like think publicly traded companies, where you're just like, hey, we're great. We make enough money. It's always grow. Like, how do you grow into the next thing? And the NFL is their next thing is gambling. And how do we have a more international footprint? They're probably going to call him Mr. Beast for a goddamn to be a consultant, because he's gone up crazy, because he just is like one of the first people that dubbed all his videos in Spanish.
Right.
Do you know what a self-fulfilling prophecy is?
I mean, a prophecy that fulfills itself.
It's exactly. like what I'm saying is, like, this is basically like a self-fulfilling prophecy with the NFL. Like, if you continue to expand for the sake of growing money, even though no matter what, you're growing money every year. Every year the NFL is making money. The salary cap goes up every year. It's based on what they make, based on profit. Okay. So you're making money every year. If you get greedy and try to get bigger than you need to, I think it's going to be the downfall of the NFL.
Or what if you don't evolve, though? What if you just don't evolve, though, Greg? I mean, you could just say it's evolution.
Are you kidding me? They don't need to evolve. Right now, the NFL is right where they need to be.
Sears?
Every single year, they make money. Not just not an income.
This is what the CEO of Sears said in 2006.
Huh?
This is what the CEO of Sears probably said in 2006, where it's like, we've just been a profitable business for 106 years.
Sears is quite a bit different.
That internet thing.
And you know what? Greg, you know what? If there was a Belk to the NFL, I would say okay, but there's not.
But you have other sports like soccer who is starting.
Soccer is never out producing NFL. I'm sorry, it's worldwide.
On a global level.
Yeah, as far as popularity on a global level, you're right. But we're not talking about popularity. We're talking about making money. Is all we're talking about. You're talking about business, X and O's, right? I guarantee you.
Yeah, soccer players, man.
If you're talking about money, the soccer, like, if you look at the total like income of all soccer league, like the NFL, like Major League Soccer, like just professional soccer over the entire globe. Oh, it's dominating the amount of money.
And how much more is that? Okay, so we're going to use per capita here.
Well, I don't know.
How many more soccer? Hold on. How many more soccer players across the world are there than NFL players in the NFL?
A lot.
But that also means that's what I'm saying. So when you add that in, you got to use per capita. Then, right?
To be honest, there's only like 10 of them on a team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't mean that they're all getting paid extremely well.
I believe the NFL
just like in the NFL. You're right. We're talking about total
NFL players are higher paid than a lot of the most big name soccer players, unless it's like a Messi or a Ronaldo. But another interesting question that Kev brings up, it's like, yeah, they can sell out one game, but is that market going to be enough to support them through an entire season of football?
Exactly.
We don't necessarily know that yet.
Exactly.
Is there a way, though? Could you say, though, that, and we're probably going, this is how we make this a 4-hour podcast.
Show. After this, we'll move on.
Maybe this is the money to be made, though, in the NFL in seats and ticket, like maybe their revenue model is, you don't want it to become too dependent on just the stadium activity. Like, imagine if you could make that same type of money and not even have the expenditure of a stadium, right? Like, what if we were all VRing to go to the game and it was just like in a fucking 10 building or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like you didn't have to have a $3 billion, $5 billion stadium. So I guess is like, is their model, where are their revenue sources? Are they looking more and more to brick and mortar, or when in these types of moves, or is this a different kind of idea of how to make money through jersey sales, t-shirt sales, through the expansion of the brand? It's hard to, but the NFL, what I guess I'm trying to say is the NFL, and to counter Greg's point, does have to continue to evolve. They might be the biggest alpha or whatever predatory animal right now, right? Top of the food chain. But at the same time, if they have to continue to stay ahead. And the question is, how do you continue to do that? And it might not just be, look, the games are too expensive to go to. And also, they probably have to be thinking beyond TV now. The NFL TV revenues have been so giant. Right. Are these TV networks going to be able to pay that in the future? Or are they going to have to? So this is, I think, just kind of foreshadowing that they have to continue. These guys, these billionaires aren't going, we're just making money. These guys are trying to get the most juice from the squeeze.
Conquer the world. Yeah.
Conquer the world. But at the same time, I mean, you talk about every business, you think about scalable, right? That's it. How can it continue to be scalable? And now the other part of this is you start to think about the idea of streaming, right? Now, all of a sudden you have a global audience that's going to be able to stream your games on Amazon Prime. You're not having to negotiate these individual TV channels in Europe and Germany and obviously part of Europe, but like South America.
YouTube. They just got YouTube. That's probably, I wonder if that's a great point why they went to YouTube.
Right. I mean, yeah, because you're not having
that's where the eyes are. More people are there now than there are on these traditional
satellite. I think it's it was satellite before.
And I will say too, that has to do with the company or the whoever has the rights to that serving it. You're right. Could be a bunch of games on Amazon that you see, but it may not be. It may be a bunch of games. It may be a few games on Fox, a few games on NBC, a few games on Amazon.
We won't see them,
you
but
have to pick and choose what you can watch based on where they are. You know.
My final question: do you think they would have an easy time attracting free agents? That's what Kevin brought up.
I think that's got to be a part of the whole conversation too. But I think free agents will, because guess what's going to happen if you start to expand in other markets? That cap space is going to start to go up even more, and that money is going to start to come in even more. So yeah, I think attracting free agents is still, and I think if you start to expand into other countries that are used to soccer players who are getting fully guaranteed contracts, I think you're going to have to, as the NFL Players Association, you're going to start to see fully guaranteed contracts more and more for that to be able to actually happen.
Cody, before we go to the next slide, I want to play a couple of calls real quick. All right. And I'm going to freshen my drink too. Here is my bastard son right here. See what Kev's got to say.
Hey, it's White Chocolate Espresso. What's up? I just want to come on here and talk about, a funny news story that happened to my buddy, actually. So he worked at this crab house on James Island, Charleston, right? And every day he would wear his Panther hat when he worked the line, cooking and everything. And then one day he was prepping and everything. He goes out front, turns the corner, and there's Muhsin Muhammad. And he's like, what the fuck? Because apparently the owner of the restaurant, the crab house, also was good friends with Moose in college. And so my buddy asked him, hey, you mind signing my hat? And Moose actually starts laughing. He's like, you went to your car and grabbed that, right? You didn't have that on. You went to the car. He's like, nah, I wear it every day. And Moose was nice enough to sign it for him. So that was pretty cool. But I also want to talk about this. I might hurt a lot of Panther fans' feelings by saying this. Carolina will have lost the Super Bowl either way. Sean Casey kicking out of bounds. I'm sorry. I got to get over that. If you look throughout that game, we were done. The defense was over. Whoever got the ball last was going to win the game, was going to score. In that same game, the Patriots scored a touchdown in 49 seconds. 49 seconds, they scored a touchdown on us. So, I'm sorry. that Tom would have found a way. They would have went down. They would have traveled. And they would have won.
You're overestimating
I blamed Casey at the beginning, but now as an adult, I'm 33. I can look at it. We would have lost no matter what. I don't care. I've passed that. 2015 Super Bowl, fuck that. That's bullshit. I can watch the old Super Bowl and enjoy it. I cannot watch the 2015 and enjoy it. It is horrible. But that, I'm telling y'all, get over it. Stop getting on Casey about kicking out of bounds. I understand it made it easier for him to do it, but I'm 99% sure that Tom would have marched down the field.
Yeah, but there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts.
Either way.
No. You're absolutely one.
Peace. See y'all in training camp.
You are 1,000% wrong, sir. Well, okay, let me get it right. You're not 1,000% wrong. You're 1,000% unsure of what you're saying, okay? Tom Brady drove 23 yards or something like that on the last drive to win the game. Had you added 20 yards to that? Yeah, with seconds left. Had you added 20 yards to that, there's no way of knowing if whoever the kicker was, Gakowski or whatever it was, would have made a kick 20 yards further.
It would have gone to overtime. It would have gone to overtime.
We were in the lead.
We were in the lead. Yeah, we were in the lead. Yes, we were in the lead. We were in the lead 29-28. Or excuse me.
It was tied.
Yeah, 29-29. Sorry. Yeah.
I think it was tied. Go back and look at it.
Either way, there's no way of knowing whether he would have made that field goal.
Yeah, that's beside. I'm on like there. I mean, maybe I understand he's making a case for John Casey, but at the same time, it's like nobody knows what would have happened.
Sure,
he's going to take the blame for that kick no matter what, because even if you think Tom Brady would have led the comeback and did whatever the hell, like it was still a young Tom Brady. It's not the Tom Brady that we've known the past, few seasons or whatever, and you just don't know, man. Like it didn't happen that way, so people are still gonna shit on John Casey whether people like it or not.
Well, guess
y'all
what?
Want to know the
next
stats
week
for that game right now? Jake Delhomme was 16 for 33 for 323 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tom Brady was 32 of 48 for 354, 3 touchdowns and 1 pick. Like seriously, Tom Brady is not winning that game.
16 for 32, homie. That's 50%. And you know what? He probably started out one
yards and touchdowns that Tom Brady had. Tom Brady is not winning that battle right there. Jake Delhomme is. I'm just saying. Jake Delhomme is winning that battle.
I mean, I think Kev's got a point. It felt like this is Carolina gave them everything they got in that game. And then when it went out of bounds, you knew that sucked. Like we went from having the chance to win in overtime. You don't know what's going to happen, who musters what up.
Right.
But you give the ball to him on the 40 and then to put it in hindsight being 2020 is, I know that you guys say Tom Brady wasn't the Tom Brady he became, but it turns out we saw Tom Brady, right? We already saw the beginning genesis of Tom Brady. He already won 1 Super Bowl by that point.
Gave him a kickstart, yeah.
And it's just like you're seeing, yes, he wasn't that. I get what you guys are saying. He's not Tom Brady of 08 there. But you're starting to see that guy has you can't give the ball to Tom fucking Brady on the 40.
Can I say that Muhsin Muhammad, who we are honoring this week, had 4 for 140 and a touchdown in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, he had an 85-yard touchdown catch.
4 for 140 and a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Longest touchdown catch. I want you to look up, while we go to the next call, look up how many tackles Dan Morgan and Witherspoon had. Next call.
Hey guys, Robert Mason Howell, aka Joey the Blind Panther. Let's try this shit again. I don't think I'll get bombed this time because I'm behind 3 closed doors, 2 of which are locked. But Muhsin Muhammad and Julius Peppers. I basically have no memory of Muhsin Muhammad. I know who he is. I remember when he was playing. It was like 08. I was little. I wasn't even old enough to where my parents took me to Panther games yet. So, and I wasn't really and Julius Peppers, I remember he left for, I didn't even know he went to Chicago, but I know he left for Green Bay. And I remember in 2015 when I really became a fan, it was the year, it was 2015 year. It was the beginning of the year too, that I had done some preseason games. And it was a comeback win. I remember the game vividly that I think really got me into it. It was a comeback. It was a preseason game, but it was a comeback win. I had been basically forced into leaving because I didn't have the balls I do now. Because now, if that would have happened, I was like, fuck you, I'm going by myself. I'll go home by myself. But I was basically forced into leaving. By the time we get in our car at the light rail station, the Panthers win that game.
Oh,
and
rip.
I don't know why I ended up leaving, but that was the game that got me into it. Julius Peppers, I don't think he was there at that time. It was a preseason Patriots game, but for the 2015 season. And that was my first year basically going to what essentially boarding school, because I lived on the Governor Moorhead campus. And going to Panthers games, I needed something to gravitate to because I was quite homesick. And, of course, the Panthers were winning. And, of course, I remember that game. I started following the Panthers, and then I met you guys, and the rest is history, and I became a full-blown addict. Well, I remember Julius Peppers coming back. The deal was really good.
I think he has another part to the call here. Let's see if this is him. Yeah.
Hey, guys. We're off to make some how, a.k.a. Joe the Blind Panther again. Anyway, part 2 of the call you should pay attention to. Do not pay attention to the first and second calls because I get bombed and, my dad knows not to walk in my room when I'm talking to you guys, and he did it anyway. I ended up cussing him out. But
leave me alone, Dad. I'm talking to C3.
So, yeah. And I remember, it was the last day of 2019 was the last day of,
Joey.
for all of the Panther for the guys, Julius Peppers, Ryan Khalil, guys like that. Shitty season, but they were the bright spot. Julius Peppers especially was one of the bright spots on the team. That was the year. That was Luke Kuechly's. I think that was Luke Kuechly's last year. He might have gone one more year, but Luke was amazing that year. It wasn't his last year because he had started to take a dip in 2020. Luke was still Luke that year. But, yeah, it's very good to see Julius Peppers and Muhsin Muhammad get inducted into the Ring of Honor. And honestly, Muhsin Muhammad and Steve Smith need to host a podcast. That'd be hilarious. Because all the shit that went down. And who's that other guy you were talking about?
Moose is too mild-mannered.
Lucas, somebody. I don't know.
Ken Lucas.
Yeah, dude. Those three need to host a podcast.
It needs to be Steve Smith and Trey Boston.
But that's what I think. And then y'all got me started when y'all started talking about Bryce Young and stuff.
Oh, my God.
Bryce Young was drafted number 1 because he's a fucking genius. He is so smart. Whenever he lacks in physicality, he has in mentality. Okay? You don't draft somebody with those sort of physical characteristics if they're anything short of a genius. Because,
they said the same thing as Marcus Russell, is all I'm saying.
Okay? Kyler Murray.
Go to bed, dude.
Yeah. Facts
go to bed.
In the video game contract, you can't be playing video games. You got to study. Okay? And Bryce Young, from what it sounds like to me, what they say he's not as physically talented as Kyler Murray. I don't know. But you know what? I think we're going to be fucking awesome this year. I think the supporting cast is going to be great this year.
And he's not going to growl, and he's also going to leave the game early. Left the call early. This is a call I've been looking forward to listen to. Pickle told me he had to apologize that I was right. I was like, what? Nobody ever tells me that.
Hey, Panther fans, this is Panther Pickle. Listen, a few weeks ago on Friday Free For All, I pointed out that I thought YGM had been and done enough. It was time to move on from it. Tony disagreed with me. And a lot of folks are like me. They feel that way. But the more I thought about it, Tony pointed out yesterday on a Twitter space that we were running. Shout out, pay attention. We'll be doing a lot more Twitter spaces on Mondays and Thursdays.
Yes, sir.
C3 Army, baby.
C3
But
Twitter spaces.
if we're willing to let Terrence Marshall and have faith that he can go back and be better than he was, if we're willing to say that these other players of Matt Rule's can be better,
Hubbard,
then we have to be respectful and say that YGM may be better. Now, I know some folks are thinking, well, he can't really be. Well, let's understand something. As much as we know the offensive coaches were crap, let's remember something.
So
after Steve Wilkes fired Phil Snow, Al Holcomb took over as defensive coordinator. And then after the humiliating loss to the Bengals, Steve Wilkes fired the defensive line coach and the cornerbacks coach.
Yep.
So, and he had the assistants to the assistants step into play and pretend they were coaches. And at the same time, Steve Wilkes was going to help out, but he was also going to play head coach. And let's remember that's a little too much to put on to a guy who never had correct NFL teaching to start with. Now, YGM played, I think he started, if I'm not mistaken, every game last year. That gives him a road up on experience.
Yep.
But he's in the new 3-4. You know, he has a lot of encouragement that he thinks he's better off with this change. You know what? We should give him the benefit of the doubt. YGM, I'm back on your bandwagon, brother. All right? We'll see what happens down the road.
What?
And keep pounding and hit that like and subscribe, folks. It ain't that hard.
Hey, there we go.
Oh, bro, that shit was fire.
Pickle and them. Look, the Army be getting the C3 spaces. We're trying to build this community together. So don't think of this podcast as something that you're just listening to. Be a part of it. And your creative, we want your creative bones, man, and to be part of it. Year 3, I've always said this, is year 3 for defensive ends is the one, right? It is the year where the second where guys can become something. Where is, I thought I had the fire Matt Rule button. Yeah, here we go. This makes us, after this, that just always brings this up. Now, hey, look, he's right. And I think I'm right too. Thank you, Pickle. If you're going to give Terrace Marshall Jr. all that grace, then like, look, is YGM potentially, let's not, as you could say, he could be better than he has been. And it's not far-fetched to think that the coaching was problematic everywhere in that building, because now you heard Tommy Tremble coming out and saying, man, it's great to be like fucking improved. And then I just want to say this.
Between soccer, between the concerts, between football, to me, it's been tremendous to see the atmosphere, to see people coming out. So
my man's going to start feeling right. Fire Matt Rule.
I'm happy that everyone's out here. Our players worked hard.
At the end of the day.
So, now what's the point for JC?
Yeah, Matt Rule. Speaking of Matt Rule, hey, I'm gonna play Anthony's call. I know he's not feeling well. Good, Greg, what'd you have to say, real quick? We'll get Anthony's call. Then
it doesn't have to do with this. Anthony's gonna bring up Bryce Young, so I'll wait till he gets done. Then I'll talk about this.
All right, here's Anthony.
What's up, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte.
What's up, Ant?
Currently have a fever right now.
COVID.
But my Panther fandom never goes away. Just wanted to call in, see how you boys are doing on this Tuesday.
Chicken noodle soup,
I'll be back on my feet soon for sure. But first thing I wanted to say is congrats to Julius Peppers and Muhsin Muhammad for joining the Hall of Panthers honor. I know Julius Peppers is my dad's favorite Panther of all time. Muhsin Muhammad, just an unreal wide receiver for us. He was huge in big games, especially the Super Bowl in 2003. So, yeah, there's that. Honestly, not much to say other than that. But, yeah, just a quick call into the show. Hope y'all doing good. Have a good day. Also, just wanted to let all the C3 fans know that we're going to be doing these Twitter spaces probably once every week to get more people's opinions and thoughts on the Carolina Panthers and different stuff going around the league. So make sure to check that out. If you do have a Twitter account, I'm talking to all the people in the chat room and people that, I know on Twitter already. Anyone's welcome to join. But yeah, that's all I got for today. Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding.
Hey, keep pounding, bro. These C3 faithful, man, they're out here going to war for C3 Panther Nation. I love it, man.
That man's coming in with the flu. He came in. He making calls,
He's
holding
sick,
Twitter
man.
spaces. He got the flu.
Get better.
Not good. Yeah, get better.
That's actually a good call for what I'm talking about here. Because I know that Anthony is a huge Bryce Young fan, and everybody gets mad at me about Bryce Young. But look, I just want to say, okay, let's look at some Jamarcus Russell stuff. Okay?
Oh, let's not.
No, here we go. Here we go. Jamarcus Russell. Jamarcus Russell.
What is that?
Here we go. From Todd McShay. I cannot remember being in such awe of a quarterback in my decade of attending combines at the pro days. Russell's passing session was the most impressive of all the pro days I've been to. His footwork is being such a big quarterback is surprising. He was nimble in his dropbacks and rolling and throwing on the run. The ball just explodes out of his hands. Wait, let's keep going. Here we go. You're talking about a 2-3 year period. Once he's under center, look out because his skill lever is certainly John Elway like the best quarterback out there. Here we go. Let's see what this says. If the workout Russell had was Star Wars type. It was unbelievable.
But Greg, no one is judging Bryce based
all I'm
off of
saying
a
is
workout,
we've heard these things before.
What is in that wine, dude?
All I'm saying is we've heard all this crap before. And by the way, Jamarcus Russell was 6'6", 265.
Exactly, but he was
when they
only
said this.
He was
6'6", 265.
You're talking about two separate things, Greg.
I'm talking about a number one pick.
No, 1,000%. These are two separate scenarios because one thing is Jamarcus Russell was touted as an athletic person who was able to throw
physically. The cannon.
He had all of the pieces.
Hold on.
Hold on, Roethlisberger,
right? And they literally were talking about all the physical attributes. Not a single person was talking about his preparation. Not a single person was talking about his intelligence because guess what? It wasn't there. And the other piece of this is not a single person was talking about his film in college and how he was a commander of that offense and that he was able to read defenses and all that stuff. Those are two separate scenarios. You cannot you cannot talk about Jamarcus Russell and Bryce Young in the same vein.
Greg
That's just not a logical
peyote wine.
I guess I am. I'm what's on call being realistic.
No, you're not being realistic at all.
This is like a total political. That's a political move right there. It's like it's like us calling Huey Kingfish Long a socialist communist, and he just asked for free books for public schools.
I will eat. No, please don't put me in that category. I will eat all the crow you guys give me.
All right.
If Bryce
Yeah,
Young's
we
good.
are, bro. You're giving them a lot of fodder right
You're gonna
now.
have to, bro.
Let's stop acting like he's the fucking Jesus when he has not done shit.
Greg, you know what? Greg is sipping on that scissor just like Jamarcus Russell was. You remember Jamar? That's what Jamarcus Russell did. They said that somebody
stop crowning him for real.
Look, the man got paid.
You need to jump on the train.
No,
that
I don't. I will jump on the train when the train is moving.
Don't get the
when the train is
Russell.
moving, I will jump on it. Okay,
the train
I'm
is
not
moving,
jumping
Greg.
on it while it's fucking sitting there
But
in the middle of Alabama.
There's
All right?
no reason to be optimistic about Bryce, and that's just fundamentally not true. He has weapons that other rookies do not come into the NFL with.
And you're right. You know what? You know what?
Marcus
Cody,
Russell
you're right.
was
You're
the
right.
epitome of dumb,
he does.
too.
And he has absolutely
like,
Cody, you're right. He does. He has absolutely no things you would look at that would be a downside to a quarterback. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? What am I thinking? 5'9"?
No,
he has no things that would be a downside to a quarterback.
He has attributes that are going to bring him into the NFL that other rookie quarterbacks did not have.
Do you remember? So you guys don't. You guys are too young for this.
I cannot wait to see.
When was Jamarcus Russell drafted? Like 06?
2007, I believe. 6 or 7, one of the two. Yeah.
By the way, I know what our next emoji is. We need a wet blanket in the chat.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. We've got that. We need a Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah, right.
We need a Kelvin Benjamin whale. We'll do a whale or a Bojangles Bowberry biscuit. But Greg beyond, you know what that wine Greg is hitting is the same shit Jamarcus Russell was. This man got like something like 50 million guaranteed because he was like right out the gate. It's him and Matt. What was his name? The guy came from that came from the Rams, and then he played for the
Sam Bradford.
Yeah, these are the two quarterbacks that flipped the NFLPA, like gave the owners.
Yeah,
right, like that.
Right. That was that last year.
But Jamarcus Russell got like $50 million, and reportedly, I mean, he had just gotten paid all that money, right? So he's like fucking stupid rich.
Oh, I
and
agree.
he showed up at a party, dude.
Yeah, he did. Well.
Showed up at a party with a Camelback, like a book bag. And this was in the early 2000s, like in the mid 2000s. This is when people were drinking Robitussin to get really fucked up. There was that song called "Sipping on Scissor," and like
scissor.
Yeah, and that was about drinking fucking Robitussin with codeine and until you started like tripping balls. The man was worth $50 million, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go to this party with a Camelback full of goddamn Robitussin on my back. Take that. That's the type of person we're talking about.
Can I tell you the comparison that I will accept with you, Greg, is if you wanted to talk about CJ Stroud and Jamarcus Russell.
Oh no,
that's not
even fair. I feel like saying
that's not fair.
Jamarcus Russell's name in a sentence with anybody is such a fucking slight.
Let me ask you.
Let's go something more like
what's the last? No, hold on, real quick. What's the last quarterback?
Carson Wentz,
number 1, with the upside that we say CJ Stroud or not CJ Stroud, Bryce Young has. Okay, that worked out.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence is still not an elite quarterback. He's a top-tier quarterback.
Oh, shut up.
Elite guy.
No.
Go to bed, dude.
He had one good playoff game. He had one good playoff game.
It's a great season. This isn't an easy answer. Joe Burrow. Easiest answer.
Joe Burrow didn't come in the league. People expected him to be like this. I'm sorry. I did not hear the
number one pick.
He 1,000% came in the league.
I hear the hype for Joe Burrow that I hear for
yes, you did, dude. We wanted Joe Burrow.
I missed it then. I must have
missed it.
I didn't hear that.
Just like I missed the connection between Bryce Young and Jamarcus Russell.
Hey, by the way, I want to say one more thing. Hey, Greg, I bet Jamarcus Russell would have went to that damn party, bro. Not Bryce.
That's what I was saying.
Dude. Yeah, with a backpack full of Robitussin.
See, you guys are making me want Bryce Young to have a bad year. I don't want that. I want to you guys are making me want to have him have a bad year.
No.
Just to be right. Just to be right. Just to be like, shove it in your face.
You are making yourself do that, man.
I think it's kind of like, I think it's unfair to compare any of these, man. I think it was like, I saw somebody say Anthony Richardson.
That's a good point.
I don't even think that's fair. That's like putting the worst. That, you know what? It's like in the category of comparing somebody to Dwayne Jarrett. Like, it's just like, man, what a dick comparison that is. And what I mean by that too is like, is that that's such a bad person, right? Like and here it's kind of in the Kelvin Benjamin camp for me.
Polar opposite of Bryce.
Well, Kelvin Benjamin is kind of like this. And I say, you know what? I will give Jamarcus Russell some credit for being out in the public spotlight and owning the shit. You know, it's like, he's come to, you know, so, I mean, more than Kelvin Benjamin, wherever he's at, fat eating underneath the bed, probably got candy bars under the pillow. That's messed up. I feel bad for saying that. Where is Kelvin Benjamin? I need to know.
So, question.
Podcast brothers, how y'all doing? Y'all know who it is, G. Cavassier.
You're done,
man,
Greg.
it's been quiet in Panther land. We all know that shit. But let me take you down memory lane really quick, man. I am not really worried about not having a number one wide receiver. And the reason why I say that is, you look at 2003, we made our first Super Bowl appearance and got cheated out of that Super Bowl. But anyway, we really didn't have a number one wide receiver. You know, we had Muhammad, Smith, and Ricky Prohl and shit like that. Then in 2015, who the hell was our number one wide receiver? We didn't have one. Kelvin Benjamin was hurt. He had Devin Funches, Corey Brown, you know, old boy that came from the Jets is on the tip of my tongue, but it slipped my damn mind or whatever. We really didn't have a number one wide receiver. It looks like we're doing the same shit again this year.
Jason
And another note, man. Remember that dude, Deontay Brown, man? Remember him? He was offensive guard, I think. And I don't know if he played for Alabama or Auburn. And I looked online, he's on the damn practice squad. Because I know he had problems with his weight or whatever, man. But, you know, I really thought he was going to be a starter or whatever. And he just magically disappeared. And, you know, we got that new guard from North Carolina State that played with Icky and damn football and everything. Where does that leave Brady? Are they going to switch him to right guard? Because, you know, Austin Corbett is damn hurt and shit. And what about that dude Mays that we damn drafted last year? Where is he going to be at? Yeah, like I'm saying, it's questions. I still got questions. And who the hell is going to be his safeties? Is it going to be Xavier Woods, Devon Bell? Where's Jeremy Chang going to be? Hey, man. Give me your thoughts on that, y'all. Keep pounding.
Pounding.
Good call, G.
Fantastic.
It's a good call. Man. It's a good call. The only question I have about it is he's talking about how whenever we were in the original Super Bowl, we had nobody that had no players that had stats. I think Steve Smith had 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns that year. It
was his breakout year, though.
Yeah, and I think that Muhsin Muhammad in 2003 had 837 and 3.
Foster
so, I mean, you're looking at 2,000 yards and 10 touchdowns
running
right
back. I mean, we had
we had some
our
wide
offense
receivers,
was slow in that. That I think to the point though is that those guys weren't number ones at that moment.
I get that. Yeah, that's a fair point.
And the other thing is the next time we had our best offense ever was 2015, and again. Kelvin Benjamin, after a 1,000-yard season, we're all hype about him toward the ACL. Yeah. And you kind of mismatching these people, Ted Ginn. So we've had some moments. What we'll see, man, is like Bryce, the distributor, the point guard. I hope that he can be that. And that's the thing is, who knows, is I want Bryce Young to be Bryce Young. I don't want him to be Jamarcus Russell for sure. I don't want him to be Patrick, whatever Murray. But what's his name? Kyler.
You know
Murray?
What I'm truly afraid of, Tony?
I want him to be.
I'm afraid he's going to be RG3.
Why?
No, it's two separate.
I'm afraid he's going to be RG3.
I think Tua would be the more
the words. The key words there, Greg, are you're afraid.
Still playing. Okay, so
you're afraid. You are letting.
I mean, it's reasonable to think that he could get
drive your remote. No, I mean, dude, listen.
If he gets, he could get like pancaked into the ground, and they have to like pull him out.
Yeah, but that can happen to literally any player. Literally,
right? You know what?
Tua is about one concussion away from being
right.
A
that could happen. That could happen to any player. I would rather have a player that's 6'5", 250 than a guy that's 5'9", 190. That to happen to. You're right. It can happen to any player. But if I'm going to take my chances, I'm taking the guy that's 6'5", 250 over the guy that's 5'9", 190.
When Bryce goes off this year, I am going to be vicious to you.
Please do. Please do. I'll take it. I have no problem. I'll take it. I will be the fucking heel all year long. I have no problem with that. Okay,
No, you won't.
But I'm
we'll
realistic.
Be fine. We're gonna be
can
fine.
tell.
We'll all
We
be
can tell.
celebrating. We'll all be celebrating. Here is the next call.
Yo, what's up, C3? I can't go out like no hoe. I figured I'd call back and say something more relevant to the topic since y'all with a little threat. I figured what was your favorite memory of those players of Muhsin Muhammad or Julius Peppers, since they were the ones inducted to the Hall of Honor? You know, tell me maybe an extra player you thought they could have been there, maybe their favorite memory. I had another question that I also asked on the Friday free fall, which is, if there should be jersey numbers retired, who do y'all think it should be? And whether Peppers and Moose are one of them. Me as a younger fan, I don't have some strict memory, so like y'all telling me about these plays or amazing things they did, always helps to educate the younger generation. So had to make up for the weak call, I guess.
You did a great job, JJ. You know what? I'll be very fast. My best memories of Muhsin Muhammad, again, that was a little before my time as a Panther fan, but I know his touchdown celebration through the leg. What,
Muhammad?
That's badass. That's all time. I love that. And in 2017, when Julius Peppers came back to the Carolina Panthers, and just seeing this man, who was only 1 year out from retiring, just run roughshod over people. Looking like it was still 25 years old out there. The type of tenacity, and that reminded me of all those things that Tony has always said about Julius Peppers. He was a dominant freak of nature that you did not want to line up against at all points throughout his career.
Here's a couple of things. Look, he had 15 sacks in college one season. I'm watching YouTube highlights of Julius Peppers right now. And Greg, pull up his stats. How many forced fumbles did he have? Not only is he going after these guys every time, he goes for the ball first. Like, as he's sacking these dudes, every time he is smacking the ball out. And so he had, look, his rookie year, he had 5 forced fumbles.
He had 5 forced fumbles.
52 forced fumbles in his career.
Yeah, 51. Yep.
That's insane. Right? So he's like the Peanut Tillman of defensive linemen. The other thing is, I think, again, like, I go back to that 101-yard play was incredible. And I think him coming home at a right time and having success. That's another thing I like to think about, is that he came back to Carolina. He was old, but he still put up like 11 sacks or some shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't go out
sacks.
like a broken ass.
2 forced fumbles.
Well, yeah. Let's look at this. He had a defensive rookie of the year, defensive player of the year once, defensive player of the year twice, second team All Pro 2 years, first team All Pro 2 years, first team All Pro 3 years. I'm sorry. So he had first team All Pro 3 year, or second All Pro 3 years, first team All Pro 3 years, 2 defensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, and 1 defensive player of the year. That guy's legit, man. That's a Hall of Fame guy right there.
Yeah, especially when you look at his history, like his where he's at on the history on the leaderboards with regard to the history and most sacks in the NFL. He's what, number 5? Is that what it was? Or did he
number 4?
Number 4, 5. I think it's 5.
No, I think it's 4
or 5. The other thing to think about with Julius Peppers too is that, but like, this is, I think, of him and Deshaun Foster with those black ass fucking visors.
Yeah.
Imagine, I don't know if they're allowed to wear them as much anymore, or if people do, but now if we had imagine seeing Julius Peppers in the black on black with the black helmet and the black visor, dude. I'd fucking give him my money. I just give him my lunch, everything, be like, I surrender. One other thing about Muhsin Muhammad, though, it's not a good story, but it's a redemption story. I think that Muhammad was not drafted high or had some problems. He got caught in college with a gun. And it was Nick Saban, I believe, who was coaching at Michigan State at the time, that kind of gave him a second chance and believed him as an individual. And like he has this, like, I think Saban, and when Muhammad was inducted into the College Hall of Fame or Michigan State, they spoke, and man, Muhammad spoke so highly. I think that's when I got a different side of respect when it comes to Nick Saban. It was to hear how personally important he was to Muhsin Muhammad's life. You guys want to hit these last two calls real quick?
Well, I want to address one last thing he talked about. He's talking about the jersey retiring for the numbers. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't think retiring jerseys makes a tremendous amount of sense.
Me too.
Especially long term.
Like the Lakers.
Yeah.
No
if you have won a
left.
Super Bowl, I agree. Yeah.
Right. Well, not even just that. I mean,
even if you won a Super Bowl, like look at the
there's-
Cowboys. They passed the number 88 down like it's a legendary badge of honor. You know? The
If you were
Panthers are going to have to do that.
Similar to the Steelers, they have so many legendary players from the Steelers history that like they would just be, it would be impossible for them to retire all the legends numbers because they would leave no numbers available for anybody else. So long term, it doesn't make a tremendous amount of sense, but also, I mean, there's other ways you can honor people without like the Hall of Honor, like the Panthers are doing already. I don't really think there's an extra layer of like recognition that these guys need beyond that.
So
look at the Yankees too. The Yankees are running out of like numbers, and they're gonna have like, you're gonna have a guy that's gonna be a baseball player. He's gonna be wearing like 102 because like they've retired so many jerseys. I mean, Jeter's jersey, like all these people.
But if I'm not mistaken, like just because a jersey is retired doesn't mean you can't use it, right?
Yeah, you can't use it. Yeah, if they retire it, it's nobody uses that number again.
No, you never use it
maybe
again.
CBA. I'm pretty sure in the NBA,
Judge wears number 99, dude.
Hey, look
I'm
at
pretty
what
sure in the NBA, if you call that player and ask him,
look at what White
says,
Chocolate sent me. Look at what White Chocolate sent me. Lined up on the outside as a DB or something.
No, it's
a wide receiver, buddy. That's a wide receiver right there lined up. That's offense.
Yeah, that's Pepper lined up.
That's
right
offense.
end,
Yeah, that's wild.
Dude. He would be what is the thing is I just would love to see Julius Peppers in this NFL.
Yeah,
like he would be
a prime Julius Peppers in today's NFL.
Yeah, he would be so rich and famous.
He was rich and famous.
Yeah,
that's
but like
it's
like it's not
my athlete
it's
right there.
nothing like
it
is now, man. Watching football, if you go back to like just like 1998, and like the coverage was only newspaper coverage, right? It's like there was no, so these guys were out getting fucked up. Look, if you go back to the 80s, Darryl Strawberry, go watch the 30 for 30 on Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry. These guys were doing blow and drinking all night and then going to the ballpark and still
Tony,
being.
Do you think they're not doing that now?
Yes, they're not doing that now because like social media, we follow everything.
No, they're not posting on social media. That doesn't mean they're not doing it now. Come on, dude, get it.
The difference here is I think that if they're doing it, they're not doing it out in public like they were, like you're talking about in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah,
you could get arrested and not, it kind of be swept under the rug.
Yeah, back
now we're watching everything. We're so hyper. Look, kids, Bryce Young had a personal coach when he was in 5th grade. So think about that. It's like that didn't happen in the 80s, bro. You were lucky if you had a bat bag. Let's go to the last two calls.
Oh, he got it in.
Joey, what are you doing? Stop jerking off in your room.
You're gonna go blind.
Okay, listen, this is Panther Pickle. By the way, listen, I'm watching I'm watching the Tuesday show, and I hear basketball. I hear a discussion of basketball. Shut the hell up. Well, I don't need no basketball talk on my Panther podcast. It's called C3 Panther Podcast, not basketball podcast, not porno podcast. JJ, shut the hell up and make your own damn podcast, bitch.
About to make Pickle famous. I want to see a G Baby and Pickle podcast.
Oh God, no, that would be, there would be zero breaks of people talking. Like it would just be yelling. The decibel level would be just out the roof. You would have to have somebody who moderates it that says, Pickle, you now have 60 seconds to
I know. Mutant people, you're right. We would need D's to be the moderator. He's like mild-mannered enough to where he could handle that. And he'd be like, guys, we're just here to get shut the fuck up.
It's hilarious because they used to be mortal enemies. Now they're like the fucking best of friends, dude. They're long lost pals.
I love
it. They come to each other's defense at every turn.
Chance. All right. Speaking of someone I will never defend, let's go back to this. Bro, I can't. This guy fucking drives me nuts.
He's such a tool.
Matt Rule. I put the L. This is your boy Matt Corral dropping the L on Matt Rule here. What a fucking loser. He goes on some show or whatever. Interview with Pete Thamel of ESPN. Either knew or survived the purge. We've never heard of you, Pete. Matt Rule, we want to never hear from you again. But he said this. Going through the fire in Carolina was purifying fire that melts away all the impurities. Recycled line, bro. You've already taught this. We heard this stupid shit before, bro. All the hubris, all the worrying about stuff that doesn't matter, Rule said. I learned very much to worry about what matters. I have a focus and a desire in me. I watched what my kids had to go through in Carolina. We're not going to let them go through that here. What did they go through? Fucking losing? That's what they went through.
They went through seeing him get booed at stadiums and fire Matt Rule and all this stuff.
Sucked.
Right. So the thing is like,
fuck them kids. Is like everybody put this as like, I love the memes that came and everybody hit the fuck them kids. But then here, guys, is the caveat to this is there were some comments that Matt Rule, that there was confirmed reports that he was drinking a lot. Potential infidelities on his wife. And when he says the hubris, man, he probably thought he was the fucking biggest shit.
Right.
And he turned out he was a big shit, a big fucking turd that no one cleaned up.
Right.
I don't feel like I don't like this with the kid thing. I feel like he's using the kid to like, look, first of all, Panther fans are like among the nicest in the fucking world. Imagine if he would have taken the Jets job. That poor kid would have committed fucking suicide by this point.
Right.
Yeah, he's using it as a bullshit excuse to deflect for his terrible coaching and decision making. And yeah, dude, it's like, okay. Dude, he's using it as a shield. And look, I don't deny that fans can get a little crazy sometimes. But bro, you have brought this all on yourself. Tony, I have never been pulling for a man to fail.
I know.
As
I hate
hard
Nebraska.
as Matt Rule. Yeah,
I've never disliked Nebraska, but man, fuck them people. I hate
those
them.
Corn Huskers can stick them ears of corn right where the sun don't shine.
I hope they pull down their pants and run backwards through a cornfield.
And dude, you know what's hilarious? Now Nebraska fans love to shit talk Panther fans like, oh, you were never shit in the NFL. It had nothing to do with Matt Rule. Oh yeah, you bunch of fucking Midwestern losers. You're about to find out the hard way, bro.
What's awesome is it's just a bunch of fucking dorky ass middle class white people talking shit to each other. It's the Nebraska Carolina Panther rivalry. Oh, this is like it's like a girl fight. So that sounds like it's a girl fight, man. Matt Rule suck.
The other part of this is, I mean, to play that devil's advocate, he might be better in college as a coach, right? Like there is a reality that exists where he comes into play and he comes into in the next 2 or 3 years, turns that program into a extremely successful, winning football team. I'm not hoping for it. I'm not sitting here saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying we've got to keep in mind he did that. He was a pretty successful college coach prior to his movement into the NFL. So it's possible that he's still able to do that. And one of our biggest critiques of him is he always seemed to have a way of coaching that was intended for college students, and not actual professionals who are getting paid to do this, who were adults and had families. Now he's back to doing college coaching. So
I think he bought into himself.
No,
too much. I think he says, when he says all the hubris, I think that's the most telling part of this statement right here is I think he thought he was king shit, and he turns out he ain't. And you're right, CK might be better at college, but I'm starting to think he's just a charlatan. I don't even think he's good.
I'm hoping so.
CK, all that being said, based on success before and everything else, fuck Matt Rule.
I agree.
So,
I agree so bad.
Fuck Matt Rule.
Hit a thumbs up if you like that. Just fuck Matt Rule. How about that?
Hell yeah. Hit them thumbs.
What we got next?
Next up, Fan Fest. Tickets go on sale Thursday. Yeah, man, y'all. Hey, hit me up. I went with Kev White Chocolate Espresso last season. They're only $5. Tickets go on sale this Thursday at 10 a.m. I'm probably gonna grab a couple tickets.
How they stop the aftermarket stuff?
Yeah, CK saying if you buy some, I'll buy some from you. How about that?
How are they going to do that? Because I understand that selling tickets brings
only
order.
$5.
Right. No, it brings order. But there's been times in the past where someone goes up there and buys, they sell out. And then people are on the aftermarket trying to sell them for 30, 40, 60 bucks. How do the Panthers find a way, CK, between trying to bring order and structure to the ticket process, but also preventing that secondary clandestine black market of tickets?
Well, I mean, one of the things that they're doing, for instance, with training camp is it's not transferable. Like if you if you get those, I went on just to see, because I heard somebody say that they were selling them they were selling the training camp tickets for more. And I went and looked, and I'm like, I can't even sell mine. Like, I don't have a transfer option or sell option or anything. It's just that those are my tickets.
That's a great thing.
So
Good
that could be one piece to it. Another piece is, like, why do they care? Like, why if they're getting the money from the initial sell, right?
That's
what
true.
What do they get out of putting any effort into?
Well, then you should change the name. That's why they should care, is because it's actually called Fan Fest, not Fuck Fan Fest.
But it's called Fan Fest. But who's going to be going to that that's not a Panthers fan?
I'm on CK's side of this, to be honest with you.
Scalpers, man, they're just trying to juice. Yeah, all right. I mean, it just used to be free, so I like that as the non-transferable. Maybe some limits on how many you can purchase at a time.
They do. They have a six limit.
One of the reasons I'm bringing this up too is we're going to Spartanburg this year, but I think Fan Fest is a cool opportunity every year for us to meet and hang out with the C3 fans. Man, I live right down the street from the stadium. I look forward to seeing people there. I'm probably gonna buy they say you're allowed to buy 6 tickets per order, yeah. So I might just pick up a couple, dude. I'm telling you, handicap season is shit, man. Yeah. Dude, y'all might want to hang with your boy. I'm just saying.
I'm
gonna get 6. So if C3 fans want to come, hit me up.
I'm just gonna say this to my boys here. As a PSL owner, I get access to the Fan Fest tickets tomorrow, and you get to pick your seats.
Okay.
I will be.
I'm gonna buy 6. I may sell
unable to attend. You guys rap for me. You guys get those plans and build that army. What's next, Cody?
Next up on the docket, I just thought this was interesting, right? The top 10 selling jerseys of.
This is the worst picture of Christian McCaffrey.
No, that's why I picked that. That's why I picked it.
Great one to Bryce Young either.
top selling NFL jerseys in June. Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, Michael Parsons, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Fields, Tom Brady, and Bryce Young.
I'm surprised by this, Bryce Young. That's surprising to me. That's awesome.
I am too.
It doesn't surprise me when you go on Twitter. Every other post is somebody posting their brand new Bryce Young jersey, man. So I just found it funny that right now, Bryce is pushing more weight than Christian McCaffrey.
All
Ain't that a bitch?
That's awesome. What's next? I just want to put this up. This one, if that's funny to you, this is funny to me. I thought this is a great tweet from @ThomasWorld, @Thomas WRRRLD. And he put JC Horn versus some of the greatest wide receivers of all time. Megatron, 0 catches, 0 yards. Moss, 0 catches, 0 yards. Jerry, 0 yards. Marvin Harris. And I thought this just captured so much of what the
statistics are.
The conundrum of JC Horn is so many people are like, he's the best player ever when he's on the field. Look at that. And then it's like, it's just, I thought this was a great way of putting it. And then I found this kid in the seatbelt. He put the seatbelt on all these fools. Hall of Famer, first ballot. Keep going. Let's keep rocking. We at the news or where we at?
So we're gonna do this next time because we're crunch for time. But next Tuesday, we're going to do a all-time Panthers team.
Ooh,
so we're gonna go. We're going to go through all
positions,
22 positions. Yeah, on that play on the field, and we're gonna pick the best player at that position all time.
Spoiler: John Casey,
Carolina Panthers.
He's the kicker, right? Well, he's not part of the 22, right? 22.
Harrison Butker. We're gonna put Harrison Butker above him.
You kind of have that option, I guess.
All right, news next, maybe.
Huh?
Where are we at? News next.
Now we are around the NFL, baby. Hang on, let me. Just so I make sure that we're
sub up, hit the thumbs up.
I can't even find this shit.
Go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Check out the shop tab. Buy the coffee mug. And see us down in Spartanburg. Monster subs Thursday, the 27th. About, shortly after practice, we'll be having lunch, live podcasting there. We'll be here Tuesday night, Friday night. Lots of things coming for you. Let's go around the end. This is the moment where we look around outside of Carolina and look around to some of the NFL news. Alvin Kamara has pleaded no contest to a lesser misdemeanor charge than the felony assault charge. It's been looming over his head. And Cody, go on to the next slide. I think both of these are for Kamara. Oh, maybe we took one away then. What I saw was this. It
might be later.
Is that unless we both double dipped on this. Yeah, is Alvin Kamara. What now is interesting about this is now that he's taken this deal, he's reached a settlement with this guy and taken a misdemeanor charge. How does that affect his outlook for suspensions going forward? He's been very low in fantasy football among selections and things like that, or is because people were worried about the suspension. Do you guys think that the lesser charge means a lesser penalty from the NFL?
Yes.
Yeah, probably so. They'll probably slap him with a 4-game suspension, and then that'll be it.
I don't even know if they'll get that. If they drop this to a misdemeanor, they may
kind of messed up. Greg Hardy didn't even get
charged.
At the end they dropped the whole case. They kicked him out of the damn NFL.
But that happened immediately, and then they made the decision to do that right after the accusations and all that stuff. This happened, and he's played an entire year of football since this.
Yeah. All right. What's next? What is it? Justin Jefferson? Did I see that? What is this?
Yeah.
one?
So no, this was just funny. Justin Jefferson named his top 5 NFL quarterbacks.
He put his
He
own
named
quarterback
Patrick
in.
Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, and Josh Allen, and didn't one time mention his own quarterback of Kirk Cousins.
Poor Kirk.
Yeah, that's
Poor Kirk.
hilarious.
Poor Kirk.
Yeah, he's rich. Who cares?
This one was fun to me. Amon-Ra St. Brown was talking about the Lions draft class, and he said, I think the general manager, Brad Holmes, and the guys here in Detroit did a great job drafting. I mean, obviously, they drafted me and found me in the 4th, so they know how to find talent. I love that. Is like, I like this guy more already from that. It's like, hey, where were you guys? Where are all these other bunk-ass GMs that miss me? So that was fun. let's see else going on. We've got Kamara already. Keep going with that. Yeah, we double dipped on that. Oh, this Kadarius Toney story. Have you guys heard this shit?
Yes, no. What's this about?
So Kadarius Toney has been arguing with New York Giants fans, and he has been fighting with them verbally. He's been publicly upset with the Giants front office for giving up on him and trading him. Then he went and won a Super Bowl and didn't, it's just a bump on the, it's just a guy on the team. He's a warm body. And so he got 2 touchdowns with the Chiefs. But he is known for sparring with fans. And somebody said that he tried to then say his account got hacked. I don't believe this. So he got in this fight, this girl, whoever called him out for some shit, and he messaged her or tweet, and it said, "The fuck is this ugly ass motherfucker? Something needs lipo and other."
Focus on lipo and some other shit instead of me.
Yeah, and this girl, now this girl handled this supremely well on the internet today. First, she said, "Oh, he got me. Like, it was funny. That's what the internet's for." And I was talking shit about him, so I can handle the shit. I don't think he got her though. I think this is just like the low. This ain't even like. She was like, "Oh, he came at like he got the last laugh." I was like, "No, this sounds stupid." But here, also, this is Kadarius Toney. See, got it right here.
You talking about Miss Danny Jones? Apparently he missed me, fuck ass nigga. I can show you the call log, bitch ass nigga. He called.
Hold on, let me set it up. This is him in somebody's DMs leaving messages.
You talking about Miss Danny Jones? Apparently he missed me, fuck ass nigga. I can show you the call log, bitch ass nigga. He calling me, blowing me up, fuck nigga. Fuck you talking about, hoe ass nigga. I don't give a fuck about no muted shit you talking about, bitch ass nigga. You ain't slid on no block. You ain't pulled up on me yet.
What?
You ain't talking about shit, but in my DM, nigga. Pull up, nigga, or shut the fuck up.
Period. But when you're a millionaire and you dropping these types of messages,
you don't miss me, fuck ass nigga. Get your pussy ass on my DM, nigga. Unless you dropping an addy, fuck nigga.
Hey, I know.
What? Like what, bro? You're rich as fuck. What makes
go
you
Kelvin
that upset,
Benjamin,
bro?
These guys just go underground.
Dude, that's wild, man.
I know. Yeah.
That's wild.
Speaking of,
and by the way, I agree with you. Right, his words to this chick. Dude, that's like some schoolyard bullshit. Oh, and you ugly as fuck. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, and you know what? It wasn't even. I went and looked on her Twitter account because like everything was linked. So I just clicked on her just to see like if she was somebody. I only had like 4,000 followers too. But she is like, I mean, this is kind of an unflattering picture of her at this moment. And he was scrolling through her timeline. It wasn't like this was a picture she sent him, but like he went and found like the 3rd or 4th picture on her Twitter timeline. So Kadarius Toney, I mean, this shows you some of these motherfuckers are idiots. What's that? This is, I think, another story in a poor light here. Oh, the Bucks. These fans. This is what. So there's this. You can on Pewter Report, Baker Mayfield in-depth look at the Bucks QB. It's this long story, but this jumped off at me. I read this. It's towards the end of the story. He said, but the real key comes back to the variance I wrote about earlier. This aggregate rating will come within context of streaky play. There will be 4-game sample sizes where Mayfield will look like he figured it all out and played peaks that rival Josh Allen. I was like, what 4 games has he ever looked like that? The only 4 games Baker has looked like Josh Allen was from Josh Allen's rookie year when he stunk. So is that everything? That is the show, man. We got one last segment. It's where we tell people to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. Cody, let's ice some fools up.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It's the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. Every Tuesday or Wednesday morning around this time, I say, how the hell did we get to 12:10 right here with no news? And then I've got 17 ice up picks to go to. Cody, if anybody has multiple, we can bounce off of each other. I gotta show this one. My first ice up pick goes to Rand Paul. So they're having some sort of congressional discussions or whatever about the NCAA antitrust laws and some things like this. And this is what he's got to say.
The court ruled unanimously that the NCAA can't invoke their rules. And so they've completely screwed up college athletes. We used to be proud. Many of us love watching amateur athletes that weren't paid. Now everybody that plays basketball in college is going to be driving a Bentley or a Rolls. I mean, we're going to be seeing rap stars instead of basketball stars. I mean, this is crazy. But you know why it happened? Because Congress sat around and said, oh, well, because of antitrust, we can't let the NCAA do it. It went to the court, and the court made the ruling, unfortunately, a unanimous ruling based on the law. So the law's got to change. Antitrust shouldn't be involved.
Rand Paul, racist Rand Paul. I don't like to overdo but like, what does he's like? Bentleys, basketball, and rap.
Basically
all these black people is what he basically just said.
Like, it's one of those things where he's so behind the time,
right?
It's like, dude, there's no putting that cat back in the bag. It's done, you know.
I saw this. I want to ice this up. I saw this was cool. This guy put up his traveling. He found this 1998 Best Buy. Man. I want to ice up the fact that we paid $399 for DVD players in 1998. What is that, like a $1,200 purchase today? You know, so that's one. It's like if you did inflation, that would be $900. That DVD player right now.
How? There's no demand for DVD players.
No, like if you
he's just talking about like dollar for dollar.
Like $399 in 1998, what $399 would be like $900 today. Hold on, I got to make sure I don't share the wrong things here. There's some crazy ones, man. The internet is crazy as shit. Did you see?
You want me to share one before?
Yeah, please.
So, Tony, you know that I hate virtue signalers, and to me, this is the age that we live in. This is who people are. Look at this dumb shit.
Like you care for the environment. Part 1. Get your friend to film you filling up rubbish bags with sticks.
And she just leaves it, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's filming her the
Part
whole
2 now
time.
pull off an Oscar-winning performance of you struggling in the wind. Part 3. Celebrate your good deed by doing a shitty dance. Part 4. Leave rubbish bags behind once you're done.
So if you hear at the end, somebody was telling them off, like, hey, you dumb twats, because they're in the UK, so, you know, they call them twats. But the fact that they got called out, didn't give a fuck, and they were doing this just for clicks. Like, everything on the internet is fake, man. Every time you see someone chanting real loud about, oh, saving the whales or the turtles or cleaning up America or global warming or whatever the new outrage is, yeah, sure, there are some people that care, but mostly those people don't feel the need to go online and virtue signal it to people rather than actually doing something to change the thing that they're bitching about. So, to these vapid hoes, ice up, son.
I want to ice up. I got to do the setup for this one though, because I don't have a problem with Britney Spears.
Oh
Make
God,
sure the volume's off.
Oh God, she is so cringe nowadays though.
So this is not me icing her up, but this is the video, which I love this middle finger move she does in the middle of this. And the internet was going fun with the dog looking at her. Good call on the music because I was about to play it. But watch this. Look, here comes this middle finger move. Watch it without the sound is pretty fucking wild.
Dude, it's like,
The dog. Everybody is interested in this dog.
Like I think she might have needed that executorship.
yeah,
She's
we
like
fucked
fucking doing meth right now and just having a blast. Here it is. This is middle finger move for all you haters. She hit her with the front finger, which I like. All right. So I don't want to ice up Brittany. Look, if she's rich, she living her best life at this moment or living something. But this mess has got me shook, dude. And then the fact that I went on this road of like the bad internet.
Oh, dude.
So this lady drops this picture in here in the like, so you're scrolling through because the comments, I'm here for the comments, right? To this video.
Yeah.
And this is one of the comments right here. Is this tweet right here? I'm 58, don't see anything wrong with it except, well, she is so damn hot. I'm jealous. And I'm like, what is wrong with this shit? Like, this shit is first I was like, are you a dude? I got some different questions here, but the shit gets into this dangerous place where this old lady has a OnlyFans account. And I'm not going to show it, obviously, but if you see all these nudity joints, this lady is like spamming this tweet from this one guy that has 9,000 retweets, 4,000 comments. And she's dropping her OnlyFans joint in there. And then you can't help but like look, and it's just like, oh my God, what the fuck is wrong with me? This internet. This Amanda Knight is a fucking wacko, dude. Ice up to her, ice up to what I had to see.
Can you link me her profile, please?
Yeah, just for
it's great. No, you got to see. She's got a picture. Oh, she's got like hardcore porn up there. But then there's like pictures of her like in thongs and like she's from San Francisco. And she's like taking it in front of the San Francisco Police Department, like on the side. And you're like, only in San Francisco can this lady with no teeth make $1 million on OnlyFans. Ugh.
Is she really making $1 million?
Nah, I mean, no, but like it was uncomfortable. I don't know who to ice up. Me, her, who. It was awful.
Dude, ice up the world. It's getting pretty sad.
It was. Those are my ice up.
Go ahead, CK.
I have an ice up, but it's hard to put this together for like a screenshot or a video. So I'll have to kind of give you a brief narrative. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Naked and Afraid franchise.
Yes, I have one question. Why do they have to be naked?
It's just a show of their
be afraid.
It's show of their like primitive skills or what have you. Anyway, I don't know. But so they have this. They have a lot of different versions of this. They have just the Naked and Afraid. They have Naked and Afraid XL. They have now Naked and Afraid Last One Standing, which by all accounts means that you want to be the last survivor that's still out there surviving. Right?
Sounds like a hazing incident.
Right. So basically it's a competition. You're not everybody. It's every man for himself, every man and woman for himself. Well, there's this one contestant who's actually playing it as it's a every man standing or last man standing contest. Everybody else has just got this mindset of I'm sharing, I'm going to give everybody everything and whatnot. But the funny thing is like they're so mad at this guy for not sharing his stuff or not like, and he's telling them like, what game do you think you're playing right now? Like we're playing last man standing. I don't know what you think is happening here, but these guys are like ganging up on him, trying to get him out, bullying him like to a discreet, like the guy's a bit of a narcissist. I agree. And he's coming in there playing the way that he thinks he's going to need to play to be able to win. But they're all sharing food and all this stuff and like doing like not giving him any. And like they're all basically the way that they would go about it is they're all trying to get the resources that and so when you have 9-10 people trying to go after the resources and you're a single person, well, you're going to have a lot less resources to yourself, and they're sharing all these. Right. So he's fighting but it's not supposed to be this way. It's supposed to be an every man for himself type of mentality. It's not supposed to be we're going to share this food in an effort to try to, we want to get to the end. We don't want to be this. Like, have no idea. Kristen's been watching that show for the last 30 minutes. Yeah, it's a great show.
I'd last 30 minutes.
Oh, I'd last. Oh, okay. Yeah,
I'd be like, man, why can't we just have fucking some loincloths on or something?
Well, I mean, you can make it. You could make clothing and whatnot once you get there, but I guess it's just trying to give you the ultimate like survival type of mindset. But
born into nakedness in the world.
But when you watch,
if you talk out, jam out with your clam out. Let's.
I've never heard the clam out part before.
But Tony, if you get, since you have the we have the same provider of television, I would encourage you to go look that up and watch it because it's a good watch. It's fun. And the guy who does it who's by himself, like basically against this everybody in this entire thing. Well, he's still out there, and he's like, it's down to like 5 people now, and he's one of the 5.
Monica Lewinsky and them motherfuckers, man.
Dude, I can't like
them bitches.
Like I can't. The amount of people just going against him, and that like makes me really want him to win. And the amount of people that just in your ice up, Cody, just kind of triggered this for me. The amount of time, like virtue signaling that they have on that show of like, you're letting a woman sit there and be cold in the middle of the night. And like, he's not letting it, he's offering to try to trade, like, give me some resources. And he's like, what is this? Some socialist society? Like what? We're not. Like,
it's a competition. It's every man for themselves. Why am I?
Well, he's not good at making alliances. He needs to watch Survivor.
Well, you don't need alliances in this. Your entire goal
clearly you do if the tribe.
I think they're going to change it next season because it's clearly like if everybody wants to try to do this whole team up and try to like, we're going to survive and we're going to make it to the end. Eventually, you're going to have to betray everybody anyway. So stop virtue signaling and acting like he's doing this horrible thing. Like your goal is to compete against the other person and take that money away from them. So stop sitting here and acting like this is something that's special to you and that you're just this person that's an incredible human being.
What's his name?
This, the guy who's the one that's actually competing the right way, Jeff. It's no
ethnicity to him.
It might be Jewish.
Yeah, see, I knew it. They were going. It's them going. No.
Hey, your camera and microphone froze up. But Tony, you said Monica Lewinsky. I think you meant Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding. Oh, what the hell? Oh, there goes Tony.
Well,
he's back.
That's the show.
Exactly what I meant was Nancy Kerrigan. So I
said, you said Monica Lewinsky.
What if at the end of the show you just went jizzed on everybody and you went, take that. You want to quit? You want to quit?
Hey. I was like, wait, was that what he was trying to say? Like,
all right. Oh, that's funny.
Hilarious,
all right. That's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by Carolina. Did you have any more, Cody? Done?
No, we're done, man.
All right.
Let's get the hell out.
C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We appreciate everybody listening and hanging out with us. Your time is so valuable. Smash the thumbs up button. Leave comments. Go and rate us on Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher. We need to get the audio podcast. Really invest a lot more into that. So if you listen on YouTube, watch on YouTube still, it can help us by going over to these places, Spotify and iTunes, really being the powerhouses right now of podcasting. Leave us a review. Give us a subscribe, hit the play, and listen to it for 60 seconds. Let's get this going. We got a YouTube, Twitter Spaces coming along. We've got a lot of things. Training camp in just 2 weeks, and we'll be down there and hanging out at Monster Subs. And I love hanging out with you fellas. Tony Dunn at cat_chronicles. See, Cody, how do they get after you?
Yeah, man, find me at Cody Lack on Twitter. Hey, man, every Friday at 7 p.m., Friday free-for-all, be a part of the show, join via StreamYard. That's it, man. Embrace Debate, Monday at 10:30. Oh, that show is probably going to be moving. Desmond has he's going to be asking questions at some football games Mondays. So we're going to be moving that probably to Thursday at 10:30. So be on the lookout for that. And that's it, man. I got shit else to say.
CK?
You can find me on Twitter at CodizzleAllen. Maybe at some point we'll move over to Threads. Or not move over, but add an extra account over there. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But as of right now, just go hit me up there, and we'll see you guys obviously in the next show, but also in a couple of weeks down in Spartanburg.
Cody, take us out of here.
C3 Panther Nation. Until next time, keep pounding.